Call the meeting to order. The purpose of the meeting today is to discuss our budgets. And I think we had a couple of people that wanted to speak. I'll turn it over to Mr. King.
Yeah, I think there were some questions about the grounds department. We've got the grounds folks here, and so I'm going to turn it over to have Ira speak and or chat.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I guess we're in, aren't we? You here?
Good evening.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to come
Yes, sir.
and present.
We wanted to take this opportunity to give, first of all, I'm assistant director. If you don't know me, I guess some of you may not. And we wanted to take the opportunity to kind of explain what we do, why we do it, how we do it, and what we're about. If you don't know all that, it's kind of hard to, to kind of figure out why we do what we do or what, where we're at here. So, I'll give you some stuff here, some of my notes, and all. First of all, I give you one just for us to look at here is the copy of our property, the stuff that we deal with, the zones that we deal with. These are the properties that we maintain, and we've been working on this pretty long time and growing with you guys through the years since about, I guess, 2000. 2000, I think is when we took over grounds, and we've grew a lot with the county, and we ain't go a whole lot of way either. But you probably feel that if you come down around the shop. Anyways, that's just where we're at. And another, that's one you can look at. It gives you acreage and stuff. Right now, the county will maintain it 692 acres. There's some potential property, I think, that with the sawmill and the Thomas Valley Farm down there, that obviously we've not done any work on yet, but I'm under the understanding that may come someday. And anyways, that's those are things that on the list here that we're not counting. If you count those two properties, the county is running around 734 acres. We do everything for the county landscape. We do the mowing, we do the athletic fields, and we try to be good neighbors. Just recently, we're in the fall area and cut a tree down that was leaning on our property into a lady's house, and we didn't have a lot of time. I mean, this thing was going to fall, and we got it out of the way. And we just, a lot of things like that we deal with that maybe you don't even know about, and maybe you do. But anyways, I'll give you something else here that gives you a breakdown. It's a couple pages right here deal, and it kind of breaks down our crews. We currently running 3 4-man crews. There's 12 people that mow, and they use all the weed eaters, the blowers, the mowers, etc. And the snow plows as well. We have we have two-man crews that do ball. We're here. They mow. They use weed eaters, blowers as well. Of course, we have landscape, and there's 19 of us. And right now we have a vacancy, and we have 3 part-time boys that help us. And I always enjoy getting them in the summer, and all they're big helpers. And anyways, we tackle this thing every Monday morning. Try to have some success with it. And anyway, you see here on this one that I was showing you, I think on the top left corner it says Mo Crew, and that's these crews. Bill Broom, that's his crew. You can look over to the right, and you can see the equipment that he has. Now, there's something to be said about equipment, and I want you to understand this. There's different types of equipment for different types of terrain. We've got mowers that we mow level ground with, small areas. We have larger mowers. We have mowers for slope, like out here on the hill right over here to my left. There's mowers that slide off that thing and get you killed. We've got mowers, the county does it, you can mow them. And so we have multiple mowers. And we have mowers, you can look at the dates. And if you go down through here, you'll see quite a few different dates. We're pretty much up to date on mowers, but you can get on over here and pick up some that's a little older. And so on and so forth. And that's why we do what we've got mowers that specialize that we don't use every day. We have mowers at the Ventrac and Steiner and stuff of that nature. They're an 8-wheel machine. We use those like down at the landfill, places that the government makes sure we mow and maintain. They get involved if we don't do it, and so we don't have much choice. It ain't a highlight of our job. There's a lot of yellow jackets and just a tough it's a tough job down there at Hillsboro, but we, the county, Jackson County has been good and very supportive with equipment for us to do what we need to do. And I appreciate that from this board and other boards in the past supporting us and giving us equipment that we need to do what we need to do. You can go on down, you can pick up Stephen Taylor, he runs a mow crew, you get the same look at equipment that he has. You get Kevin Shook, he's a crew leader, you get what he's got going on over here on the next page. And we pick up the second page on the top left corner, pick up Randy Bryson's crew, and that's a ball field crew, and we see that he's running blowers, weed eaters, they do. We've got Greg Bills down here at Casher, him and Jason Stevens runs that area up there. Now, one thing, and I think I want to talk, Greg does a great job, and we think a lot of Greg and Jason both. But if I'll just be honest with you, in 25 years, the Casper's area hasn't grown in government like it has down here. We grew more down here. We still have the same property when we put two men up there. And it's just not grew. I can't control that. I mean, it's a beautiful place. We love the place. We have nothing. There's no problem with none of it, other than the Silva area and the Colway area in the last 25 years really grew a lot, and we had to grow with that. And that's out of my hands. And so that's why we are what we are there. And then if you look on down at the bottom of the second page, there's a tremendous amount of implements that we use on our tractors. On the bottom right, looking down, you see heavy equipment. We've got track loads with tons of implements that we've asked through the years. I can see one right here, 2010, 2008, stuff like that. I mean, we're getting some mileage out of stuff. We do keep some older mowers on the bottom left on here where it says Fire Mowers. If you'll see that right below landscape, Daniel Morrison does that, by the way. I didn't want to leave him out. And the part-time guys work with him. They do a great job and set our flowers out in the county. They're out at 5 in the morning watering flowers, and Daniel does a great job. I didn't want to, excuse me for running back. I just didn't want to run off and leave him. But we get back down here to the Fire Mower, and this has been something that's been I want you to know this, that it's been very productive for us. The biggest problem we have in grounds is weather. That's the biggest problem we'll ever have. When it rains, our schedule's set Monday morning through Friday afternoon, and then all of a sudden we get a rain there too, and now we're behind, and we're having to try to decide where the cuts are, what we're not going to do, and what school. We take care of all school grounds in Jackson County, and and we have a thought among us that just kind of motto that everything counts, and you can't go to one school and cut it and not cut the other one, or you can't go to one park and cut it and not cut the other one. So what we have is multiple equipment, and what happens then on these days that we may mow 2 days a week, we throw everybody we got mowing. We'll try that will be the focus and the priority at the end of the week. We'll mow those. We may not weed eat, but we'll try to control that thatch and get this. Thatch is the worst thing ever happened to you. It gets high. It's hard next week. If you ain't careful, you're raking the stuff. And we don't have blowers and bags to get it. So, we do it with the manpower that we have and equipment that we've kept. We've got mowers that ain't going to mow every day. We got mowers that we use when we have to as backup, stuff like that. We bring them out, and it's been very productive. We've done a lot of duplicating mowers. As older mowers wear out, we can take parts off of them without ordering. Parts are expensive. Sometimes it takes a while to get some of them, a week or so. If you got one mower that's broke down, you're broke down. But what we can do is go back and take a belt or a hose or whatever off, take it back to the field, put it on. We're back to mowing. And you probably don't even know that about us. That's just how that right there flows. And we have quite a bit of equipment now through there, and it takes it. A lot of it's been gathered and bought, and we've done the best we could with what we've got. Another area that I really want to put some emphasis on and just tell you who we are and try to answer any question you got. If I can't, maybe chat, or we brought some crew leaders with us still in it. They're the experts. And we'll be glad any of those guys are willing to answer anything that you got and stuff. But I really want you to understand the snowplow issue. We got something pretty special right there, and I don't want you to miss this. And our snowplows, if you look, it's in the. They fix this one up from where I graded. It's in this copy right here, and you can see it kind of in the center. I should have numbered these 1, 2, 3 or A, B, C, but I didn't. And forgive me for that. But on the snowplow deal, we've got 5 Myers snowplows. We've got 1 in Casters that puts us at 6. We've got 2 salt dogs that we recently bought in the last year or so. Now that puts us with these 5 and one in Cashers. That's 6, and 2 more puts us to 8. Now, this is what's really unique about our snowplows and stuff. We end up uh, around here when we started the years ago, when the county started giving us the bonus leave. The employees love it, by the way. Every department that I talk around, the bonus leave is great, and certainly don't want to see that go any worse. But what that does, that puts us to have this thing open at 10 o'clock. If it's an inch of snow, a foot of snow, or what it is, the county's going to open up. And it takes a long time to open up all Jackson County. And a lot of people right away, they got a bag of trash anymore. It seems like it's a big deal. They want to run to the SRC and they complain if it's not open. And those things are dangerous. We've got one probably dangerous to God is up there on Glenville Mountain. That thing never thaws out in the wintertime. It's cold and froze. And we've got to get people up there early. And plus, in a lot of snows that we deal with, we end up with 911. They'll have called fires in developments that don't have a maintenance crew, and the state is not plowing those fire department folks in, and so we get involved in that. And also, usually in the Canada area, and we back Cashers in this because they get a lot of bad weather, and in the Qualla area, we'll always put a plow. And they always ask for a saw crew. That way they can go in front of a 911 call or something, cut a limb out. Happens all the time when it does snow. So that takes 3 or 4 of these 8 plows out of our operation. They're stationed somewhere to help for something else. Then we're down here with 3 or 4 trying to get this open for the county employees. Now we made it work, and it does work, and we're proud of it, and it's successful. But everybody don't know that. I think Dr. Harris, I saw her come in, and we've even had to get kids in Little Canada with our plows. The state couldn't get to it. I think it's a couple of years ago. We took county trucks, made sure buses were able to get kids to where they needed to be. You know, you probably don't know that about us, but that's what we do, and that's what we're about. We try to meet the need. Now, yes, we've got equipment. And our weed eaters. I know this is something I'll just jump right into equipment. Some of the things that's been pointed out to us in the last few days. We've got our blower, got our weed eaters. What we try to do, everybody has a weed eater. We usually get 2 years, sometimes 3 out of them. That varies. We've got 21 that's wore out practically, but I don't want to. I'm not ready to throw them away until they're done. But we've got the replacement hanging in the shelf. Well, y'all know that. You didn't see that. They're there. At least 20, I think, sitting there. All right. I'd rather be here discussing it the way I'm discussing it is up here trying to explain to you why I'm throwing away a half-wore out weed eater and replacing it with a new one. That to me would be waste. If I can run these out, they're no good to nobody, and then replace it with a new one. Now, they may be other ways to go about it. I'm not going to, we're here to work for you. And we're not here to, we're just telling you how we do things. If you don't like it, we'll do it however you want to do it. You know, the way we've always done our budget, we ask for it at a certain time of the year. That's when we try to get our blowers or weed eaters. That don't always necessarily that in the 1st of July or August, and I want to hang you a brand new weed eater if you work for me. It may come later in the year. And that's why you see what, the pictures of that. Our trailers, we identified our trailers. You can read. I tried to simplify this. 5 are on boat crews, 5 of our trailers. We have 2 ball field trailers that's used daily. We have one overdeck that is a heavy duty deal that handles our big tractors and stuff like that, and certainly have one in Cashers, and that's a lot about who we are and who we are. And I don't know. There's a lot of people here. You don't hear me all night. I'll answer anything I can. I told the guys this morning when I come in, and he was going to. Get to come up here and be with you guys a few minutes. And I told them this is the way I believe in it. And I'll tell you inside too, we just want to tell you the truth. And it's just the way it is. And ain't got nothing to hide. We ain't got nothing hidden, no words. And, we just try to work. And do we make mistakes? Certainly ain't met nobody that hadn't. I've had a good career here. I've been here 36 years. I love it. I don't really have to be here any longer, to be honest with you. But I love it. I love Jackson County. It's a good place to call home. And I've worked with all kinds of boards. I've worked with both parties. We've always got along. We've tried to do what was right, and we tried to do it in a way that it was pleasing not only to the boards but to the people. And I don't. They just get a lot of complaints on us. I don't know, but I think Mr. King told me the other day when he was talking, said I never get a complaint. Dr. Harris sat back here, do a lot of work with her, and I had to go see her one time. Me and her had one meeting since she's been here. One meeting. And actually, I was telling her the biggest problem Jackson County's got right now in the grounds is fire ants. I'll just go ahead and tell you, we got a real problem with fire ants. I mean, I'd like to have that meeting someday with somebody. Them things is in our playgrounds and our school grounds and our sidewalks, and little bitty kids is running around, and them things are bad. And I don't want to, I run from them, but these kids that don't. I mean, we had over 400 2 years ago documented on county property. And, those are just some of the things that we try to meet with folks about and make them aware of problems that we might have. And they're great to work with all in the county and the school both. We have no problem and all, and I certainly didn't want none with you. So we wanted to come up and take a moment and just explain who we are, why we do what we do, and why you sell what you sell. And if you, I'll fire away. We'll do our best.
Well, first off, thank you guys, everybody, for coming. I mean, there's no question you guys are above and beyond great at what you do. I've been here when it's snowing and watched your crew clear out the parking lot before anybody else got here, just so court could happen. So thank you guys. The one place I didn't see on here was Ralph Andrews Park. Do y'all maintain that?
Cash, excuse me, Rex Center. Rex.
Rex- that's
That
part-
falls under mine, yes, sir.
All right, I got a question or two.
Okay,
Last year's budget, it was approved to get a new mower for Cashers, but they don't have one.
they don't have one yet, that's right.
How old is their mowers that they're using up there?
Some of them old, and
I've seen them and they look old.
well, they are, but I will tell you this, I mean, I can plumb prove it to you. Jack, he's got a four-wheel drive 4 Greg does up there that he likes. 72 inch. He's asked us to fix it, keep it going. He said, I wouldn't trade it for nothing. We've sent Jake something there, and he did. But what he has asked for, what he wants now is one of the standards. He has a John Deere standard that's up there, but he don't have a Skag, and that's something we've got to take care of. But now, on the older mower, that's nothing but his request. He said, I'd rather have it as have one of the new ones. So we had the ability to keep that one going, and it's running. Fired up right now, cut grass. And that's what he asked for. So I mean, if you tell me you want something,
Conservative. Well, yeah, I'm not questioning what he wanted. It's just people said they've seen the equipment up there and it's old, like 20 plus years.
it is. That's right. Yeah, one of them is, one of them isn't.
All right, I got a question about these acreage that y'all mow, and there's nothing. The guys do a good job. I mean, they bust their hind end doing the work for the county. There's no problems with that. But like, just like when you show the acreage, and that's fine, it's not really gonna matter because most people can't, I mean, like myself, you figure that out in your head. But when you're including acreage, that's the whole property. It's
That's
not
what-
parking lots or buildings.
Right. It's part.
Looking at, like, if you said this is the Justice Center and
It's everything.
it's 15 acres, it might be 10 acres of buildings or something.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But we're over parking lots. We're over everything outdoors.
Right,
If you
right.
and well, overall, I mean, the public works got it all. But what we're doing right here is outside the front door or the
Yeah.
back.
Now, how do you deal with like parking lots? Not, and I'm not talking about scraping them.
How do we what now?
Do you do anything else to parking lots besides the
Yeah, it's constant. That's why we have so many blowers. Always trying to blow, keep the parking lots and grass from getting in our catch basins, water running and stuff of that nature. When we mow, yeah, we do a lot. The snow obviously we deal with that. We do a whole lot with the repairs. Who's the guy we get that comes puts the tire down in the cracks and all?
Yeah, we do have, that's through maintenance a lot of times, but we do still,
But I mean, the biggest,
but yes, I mean, but we do
to
take
answer the
care of
question. Yeah. But and that's which recreation helps with trash in their areas. We have it in other areas, or housekeepers, whatever, pick it up. We try to keep it clean. We don't want it looking awful when you get up here.
I think it's for what you do. You go by here, looks like a golf course every time. So, and changing the flowers out, making it look nice. I mean, it's just that's a lot of work. I'll promise you, I wouldn't do it. I'll just be honest with you, I wouldn't do it. So I appreciate the ones that does it.
They do a good job. We're
Yeah.
proud of them.
I do have a question, not on what you have, well, it is sort of, but employees, how many employees are you down right now? Or do you have a full staff?
Said he
No.
had one.
We're down one right now.
Is that what you're asking for? Is that,
We're just down one. No, that's not, we were asking for another one. We understand, I feel like, now, you guys know the answer to this, I don't. And maybe this isn't the night or the time to have the conversation. I'm assuming if the county bought that property on the Thomas Valley, that's a nice deal. I'm proud of God in it. But that's gonna be some work. You put a horse deal and the 4-H and all, you didn't want yellow jackets everywhere. Poison oak one. I mean, that's gonna take some work. And you take a farm, and you throw, I mean, you look at hours.
You have sprayers. I mean,
Yeah, that helps a lot. It does. We get a lot done, but somebody, we got to spray it.
Time and labor.
Mhm.
Y'all, everything you do looks great. I'm not
Thanks.
complaining about any of that. You guys do a great job. Another question I have is, in Casher's area specifically, I know that Saxon and some of them says they go out and help the guys
Yeah. Excuse me. That's
quite a
correct.
bit doing
They do.
stuff.
Mhm.
Is that something that maybe you need more part-time help for in the
It's
summer?
very possible. I agree. I agree with you 100%. Now we do have one problem. It's our part-time help. We just don't get a lot of it. It's our price. It's tough to get part-time help. I'd love to run on it. I'd love to have more of it, but we just don't have that good of luck with it. Right now, one of the biggest problems just started 2 years ago. They told us in HR that our men up to 18 years old, I guess you call it a man, boy, whatever, up to 18 can't run anything that has gas in it. And I blow my mind.
who says that?
Blow my mind. Well, anyways, here,
Who regulates that?
I think she got it from the state or feds one, and I checked it out, and I don't know that.
Through the insurance company.
Insurance and
So,
OSHA probably.
yeah.
So part-time help ain't helping me a lot.
You can do the car at 18, 16, but you can't run a mower at 18.
U.S. government was surprised when I asked that, the Forest Service crew and stuff. I mean, they use some part-time help. As long as their big deal's no blade, and we didn't ever ask young boys to run blades, saws, and weed eater blades and stuff like that. And that's never been anything we've asked them to do. A string hit, we kind of lived on that for a while, but then that was taken away from us, and we just don't get that many. You'd think with a college we might, but we don't. It's just not there. And I'd love to. I'd love to have more part-time. In fact, I'd like to have somebody full-time up there. I'm sure Greg could use it. And all. There's not, I mean, we're all in. We're not against none of it. We're 100% all in. Whatever you want to do, we want to help you look good and do your job. And that's why we wanted to come and explain to you why we're at.
Well, I just don't know how good it is. The guy that's running the rec department out there mowing and weeding, it don't seem like that's the right person to be doing that.
You would think not. I've been told this. He's not told me this person, but in conversation with Greg, he enjoys the break. He likes to come out. He's not told me that. I'm repeating Greg, and I know Greg's truthful. But he's told me that he just, hey, I want to come out. Let's get some fresh air. I'll do this. I'll do that. And I think Greg does a lot in return, and some things for them, which, hey, I'm all in. If you want to put another man up, if we can try to get some part-time help, that's just the drive up the hill is tough, on part-time folks. And I think right now, what are we paying Darlene? $14.
ask what the rate?
That's not really, turning heads. That's not spending. The Park Service work y'all summer start out $21 an hour, and we're glad to get you. They give you that.
So there's one guy that mows Cashers?
No, there's two. Now,
One of them helps in the rec department?
No, that's the third part.
one thing that we've done, and I don't want to waste time, but one thing we've done for Greg and we do down here, if we're doing a landscape, we send a landscape crew. If he gets behind in ball fields, Randy Bryson's over all the ball fields. He's up there with him. If we need help mowing, whatever we need, we're here to support each other. We're not you got this and I'm done. I'm sitting over here under the shade watching you. That's not the kind of crew we are. We come together. I had a commissioner one time, and I love this right here, and I shared it with Mr. King this morning. He come to me years ago, and he said, Iris, I'm having trouble wrapping my brain around why it takes so many mowers to mow Mark Watson Park. And I told him, I said, well, I got the answer for you. And he said, well, give it to me. And I said, if you look at this zone, I'll give him this list. I said, we start every morning somewhere, and we have to finish somewhere. And every day there's a target area that we're going to finish. And on that Monday, it would always be Mark Watson Park. So crews would come in there, and we'd take a 2.5 hour job for one crew, knock it out in 30, 45 minutes with manpower. But if you drove by and looked at it, you would have the same opinion he did. Why does the county have 5 big mowers and 10 weed eaters out here at Mark Watson Park? But it was managed, and it worked for us. Now, you might have to explain that every now and then to somebody so they'll understand. It was either that or go to the shop and waste hour or so and send 1 in our morning. It worked good. That's using your time. And he was perfectly fine with it when he just got the logic of how we do and why we do what we do. And that's all I can tell you. I mean, it's an old system. We built on it. This ain't something that we just, piecemeal, and we've tried to build on it. And, try to be, as straight in it and effective in it as we could. And
What's the starting pay for full time?
35 right now. At 35, we just lost the boy in maintenance at this. He went for I don't even want to say it in here, but state got him, and he was young and he done well. And we had a boy here a while back, a real good hire, and we didn't get him in time. We were talking with him, and he wanted to negotiate. We don't negotiate, and he would have been a dandy. He was a crew leader. Some of these boys, that's one thing I really like about these guys. A lot of them already had management and foreman and crew lead, whatever you want to call it, on other jobs, and we were able to get them. And that made them automatically, they knew how to carry responsibility. You didn't have to teach that to him. And this guy was already a crew leader, and he was working with one of the tree companies, and he didn't want to go out of town. They was fixing to send him out of town. And he was going to take a cut, but he couldn't take this much of a cut. He had a family, and he was going from about 50 to 35, and he said, man, I just can't do it. He would have been a great hire if we could have got him. We struggle with that. I've seen the time that we've had as many as 40 applications through the years, but right now we struggle getting help at our entry levels and doing the work we do. I mean, you're going to get the hard job. If you go down there, you're going to get a weed eater. You're going to get familiar with it. I'll tell you something else to do, and just being honest with you, and it's a head pinhead, and it's out in the open. A lot of times we run 2 weed eaters per person. And why we do that, when we're cutting heavy brush, we've got weed eaters that are more for blades that'll handle that. I'm not tearing my clutches out of the small ones. We've got a lot of older men like myself, and a lot of them likes the huskies, the little lighter jobs, and so we're going to put some huskies in there with us. You may see one guy with 2 weed eaters, on his truck or something, but they asked for that, and I brought it to boards, and they agreed. And so sometimes it ain't just one weed; it's a pretty big deal. I mean, there's a lot going on.
All right, I got a question here. Like, nothing with what the pit guys do. There's nothing with any of that. What the main question is why is there so much inventory that's hanging that's brand new? Like 42 weed eaters hanging, brand new. Over 20 blowers hanging, brand new.
Okay.
I mean, and do you have an inventory of all this equipment?
I don't have 40 new mowers brand new hanging.
40
There's never
weed eaters hanging?
weed eaters, not ma'am, no ma'am,
And over 20 new blowers?
no ma'am.
Okay.
We've got 20.
You have
We've got 20 and 7 brand new.
But do you have an
locations.
inventory of all this equipment?
Mhm.
You do? And it's got serial numbers with it?
Yeah, it's it all. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
We'd probably like to see a inventory of the equipment.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Old and new.
On your budget for this year, this is really a question for you to check out. You got a new John Deere Gator for Cashers, but the Cashers rec center, it's also in their budget. So was that just one, they both asked for it because they knew they needed it, and really only one of them should ask for it, or?
Where's that double dipping?
I don't think it's on intentional. I don't know what recreation asked for. Greg asked me. What we do as a group. We meet, we talk about our budgets. It's not a one-person deal. That's just how we do it. We meet like you guys and decide what we need. And I asked Greg, I said, what do you need? He said, I'd like to have a new gator. I need one. So we asked for one. I didn't check the recreation. I have no knowledge of what they asked for. Greg did ask for one, and we put it in. Now, do check this. Some of the gators are different. for different purposes. Some of them are four-wheel drive, and that's stuff that won't work as good on the ball fields. We want,
Yeah, we understand all that.
okay,
How
so,
much, how old's the gator you have up there now?
I don't know, let me look right here and see if I can find one right here on.
Pretty old?
Very old.
I can't really tell you, I don't have a date on this right here. I don't know that it, Randy, what do you know about that up
How
there?
many gators they got down here?
The age of, is it any older than any of the rest that we have, or?
I'm 100% sure on that.
Okay, well, that's, okay.
Well, so if we got one for you to take the cashers, would it stay up there and would they be able to use it? So then we wouldn't
Absolutely.
need two, right? New ones.
Depending on if the rec park staff needed one for specific purpose or if it was for maintenance. So there's two different departments and utilizing the same area, but they still have different needs and different things. So
Well, I think
we'll go
if
back and
the-
ask Michael about
Well, I-
that.
Well, I think if the rec park needed a gator, they'd have it under their budget.
They do.
Oh, well,
So there's one under both, what I'm saying, for
Yeah.
the same place.
Yeah, they both have ram drags.
That's when I figured it was the same thing, but maybe they didn't know, y'all asked, y'all didn't know
They
that.
may not have. We don't talk about that. I mean, what they ask for, you know, I mean, I don't,
It's something you can ask anyway. I mean, that's,
good question.
One thing, it's hard to make a living on $35,000 a year.
They ain't lined up to do it.
so you're wanting, 3 new snow plows now, and Kevin was saying that some of the old ones that you have won't go on the trucks you got now?
We have one that won't. Now, we had some real old ones back there, some Curtis, and they're all out. They need, I mean, they're done. We're not going to be back in Curtis business. Actually, Curtis went out of business, but we got a good plow or two. They just don't fit anything. One of the Myers that we have, the $10,000 plow part is good, but for us to use it on a new truck, we'd have to buy a new bracket. That'd be much less. So I'm not throwing it away. We'd taken it off the truck that we took out of the fleet. But the blade's great. All we need is just the bracket. So it's sitting there for the next truck, and we'll ask, you know, for a couple $1,000 to put a bracket in the save us about $10,000. But everything else is working. And please understand how big a deal that is for us in that 911 deal as far as trying to help those folks respond and get to fires and not, and, you know, calls for ambulances are involved and stuff of that nature. And because we got more down there than what you think we need to hear, we probably do. I would agree with that. But that's, you can talk with any of those. I'm sure Zeb would be glad to tell you they lean on us pretty heavy with their plows and the snow or something. So,
Well, I mean, we're just trying to figure out,
yeah,
with every division, everybody, we're trying to separate wants and needs.
I'm with you. I'm all right with that.
Taxes is what, you know, people are not wanting to
all right, I
pay
got,
for wants right now after what's happened with the reevaluation. Needs is one thing, and if you need it, you need it. We don't expect you to keep everything looking good, you know, with a pair of scissors. So, I mean,
No, that's true.
but another question I got is, and this is really more, I don't know who it's for, whoever can answer it. Maintenance is asking for a scissor lift and a pull behind lift for about, I don't know, $70,000 worth. You guys got those at your shop, right? That's not something you use very often.
Not all the time, not in maintenance, not
Yeah,
every
sure.
day. I mean, they with Drexel and some of these other projects, we've used them more. But most of the time, they're used just around the buildings to clean gutters and lighting and things of that nature.
So no more than they're used. Could we not share that instead of getting new ones right now?
The maintenance department has a 35-footer. The one that's in there that's being requested is a 50-footer. It's a little bit bigger unit. The scissor lift would be replacing an older unit that we have.
So that what's in the big building down there is your, or maintenance?
Maintenance, yes.
Okay.
We share that bay. There's two different departments in it. So
Cause I think there's 3 of them in there now.
There's 2 scissor lifts. There's one small one for the jail that they use to be able to navigate to get it in easier there. There's the older yellow one. I don't know what the year models are on that, but it's getting aged, some age on it. So they had requested that we replace that one with another one. Now the other lift, the man lift, was for it's a larger lift.
The pull behind.
Yeah, the pull behind. Yes.
And we need to, the one we got's not tall enough now.
It's 35, and this one would be a 50.
So that's, here again, I'm just trying to not spend
Understand.
everybody else's money too easily. So the 35 we got's not sufficient for now.
Not for every building that we have and for every location, but again, it does work. Yes. Now I will say we've had some repairs that we've had to make on it from hydraulic stuff that's going on with it that we've had to repair it a few times. And when that was going on, it was down for quite a while, and the maintenance staff was like, "We really need one of these because we can't get this one fixed." They couldn't find the parts for it.
All right, and this is just another question, if you didn't need a 50-foot lift that often, does McNeely's or some rental company around nearby that you might use, I'm assuming they're close by, but do they
Certainly
not have that
possible.
in their surplus or stock?
Certainly possible. I don't know if they have a 50-footer that we can rent, but we can certainly check on that.
Normally on lifts, I think, Ms. Hooker, on that, we go to ask, those who got all those big lifts, does what we need to do. The problem you have, like lighting in a gym, a Colby or something, if they got lighting, they got ball games up there, they want to fix then. And when you're dealing, with them bringing that equipment over here to get that done, some of this, we just need to fix it now. If you got a gym full of people and the lights out, they want it, and that's what we're looking at, is just
What's
trying
the
to.
life expectancy on one of these lifts?
I don't really know.
They will last a long time. I mean, it's not something we would replace. I would say probably 10 or 15 years or
So the
more.
amount of times you would rent one would outweigh the cost of the one-time fee.
It's possible. We just have to, look at that. But as far as answering the question about renting, there's probably somewhere where you.
I got you.
Question would be access, right?
Yeah, that would be the question. If you needed it and you couldn't get it, then you'd have it.
I know Neely's has the boom type lifts that's pull behind, and they can go up to 50 feet, but that's a boom, and you have to have,
Yeah.
you have to have room to maneuver it around.
Yeah, correct. And
Okay, I got another question. On the used equipment, when y'all get rid of it, you said 2 years, maybe 3 years, you get out of the weed eaters. I don't know how long out of the mowers. Whatever else you got that y'all get rid of, do you sell this on surplus, or what do you do with it?
Most for weed eaters, I get all you can get out of them. And one thing too, I think is real interesting. Right now, we're paying, if we have to take something to shop, $85 an hour. Some of these weed eaters are a little over $350. The Chandala's over $400. But if you ain't real careful, you got more in it than it's worth. But no, we try to wear them out.
So, I mean, you just throw them away?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I think Dale does that, most of that. Take what you can off of it, right, Dale? I mean, what you can use.
Everything we can use off of.
Handles, anything, we save it. Because we may need it tomorrow.
Do y'all work on your own equipment?
The best we can. We don't have a mechanic in our shop. We have good crew leaders that are mechanic minded that do the best they can do, but we don't have a mechanic. So, but it's better to do what we can, because it's pricey. And then the weight.
Yeah, and it'd be quicker, yeah.
Is it time to get rid of those 2 dump trucks that's down there? Should we sell them? or-
Absolutely.
yeah, we will.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They've been knocked out for a long time.
And how will you sell them? On the
At
surplus?
auction, yeah.
Publicsurplus.com is what
Yeah.
I think they use.
Most things like that get sold on the state
Mhm.
auction site, man.
Yes.
Big equipment.
When you drive by there and you see that stuff sitting there for a long time, you go to wondering.
I do too. Yeah, they're done. Those are joint pieces that maintenance and grounds has been able to use, and I like that. A lot of times where we can, and Chad supports it. If we can get a piece of equipment that both departments can use, it's a good move. And a dump truck's a perfect move because you don't need them all the time, but when you need them, you need them. And that's where we're at on that. We both use it, but they're done.
Are they single or double axle?
Both of them are single.
Are you talking about the international?
The international.
The international is double, and what's the other one? Is that the Ford?
That one ton.
Oh, the one ton.
They're single.
They're single axle.
Both of them.
The truck is.
I thought the international was double. But anyway, either way, the international was bought years ago, before my time, and I was told by the mechanics that it's just never been a great truck because it didn't have the correct transmission in it, and we haven't used it a lot over the years.
How long you been there?
I mean, I've been in this position since 2011, but I've been with the county since '97.
What happens if like one of the rec departments needs something you've got that they don't have? Just
College.
They just
We
let us
work
know,
together.
and we would let them use it. Same vice versa. If they have something we don't have, I'm assuming most of the time it's been our equipment going that way. I would think. I can't. say for
It is.
sure.
They had a mower and it broke down on. Can't get parts from the store. There's no parts out there for it. It's down at our shop. It's not ours. We sent one of our, that we just used to fill in with, and they had it. So yeah, I mean, we work great with Michael. There's no problem there. If they need it, we got it. If we can't, they want to do it, they can. If they need it, if mostly we go do it for them. If it's grounds, we try to do the best what we can do.
Any additional question? Again, thank you guys for,
Appreciate you guys and all that you do. We really do. Want to work with you. That's what we want to do.
I've never heard anybody complain about how the grounds look, so.
Well, thank you.
No, we're not complaining about
No,
that.
well, I know, but not a single person that has visited here or.
Well, we're here to work with you. If you hey, whatever you want to do, I mean, we change the way we do things. We can sit down and look at. We work for you guys.
what about the tilt trailer? Is that something that we need right now? Because when I was down there was a bunch of trailers. sitting there.
I think I went over that just a second ago, how many we have and where they're all at. And the tilt trailer is kind of where we're going and we're phasing out. We've got 2 trailers that are broke down, and they are down there, and they will be down there, I guess, till we can get those sold. And but what we're finding is these tilt trailers are better, they pull better. We don't have as much wiring issues. And I was telling Mr. King this morning, we get phone calls from the public. If we go down through town, the lights off on the trailers, they don't mind a bit. Some woman, man, call, hey, we're just following county truck, lights ain't working. Well, once we find that out, then we got to take that one out. We can't run in risk of somebody running into it and us knowing about it. And it's one thing if we get hit and we didn't know it, but we know we got a problem. And wiring on some of those old ones is getting tough. I mean, we got old trailers. Some of them's pretty darn old, and all of that. I think moving forward, what we've been trying to do little by little is ease into the tilts. They work better. They're easier on the men's back, and they're certainly safer. We had one wooden trailer, machine went through it, and just too much machine for the trailer. The tilt eliminates all of that. And they're not that much difference in price. It's the it's the thing to do now.
I agree. Tilt trailer's the way to go. But that means there was one in the budget last year and one in the budget this
Right.
year. So I'm just wondering
That's exactly right.
if we needed another one or if we wanted another one.
We really need it. We try to do what we do in our budget. Our process is we get together with our crew leaders. We talk about what we need, and then we cut it ourselves. Because I know there's going to be cuts. So let's just go ahead and take out what we're looking at that we really don't need. And once we get it all on paper, it's easier to do that. And and we need it. That's always important, and stuff. But that's what we'd appreciate if we could get it.
thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
y'all.
y'all.
All right. Thank y'all. Moving on now, to additional things y'all wanted to look at was, what was next on that list? Yeah, feel free.
Questions I got that either's been brought to my attention or I just looked through here and found and I don't understand maybe, or I feel like something's wrong with. One, Kevin straightened me out on some of this stuff, but one big one that I got a question for right now is we got pool shell repair for Silver Pool, $50,000. Miscellaneous tile work, $2,500. Those same exact numbers was in last year's budget that was approved. So what happened there? Why do we need it again, or did it not happen, or did it happen? This is a misprint, or what is it?
What happened to the money if it did happen last year, or didn't happen?
So I can explain some of that. So sometimes when you go, you're projecting 12 months out. So this is a roadmap, basically. If we get into it and the project can't get done by the end of the year, we try to just kind of rebudget it for the next year. That's what happens. So some of this are, it's not the intent that we're not going to do it. It's the intent we're going to do it, but it's also a 12-month period when you go through the bidding process, when you do all the different things for the project, you may or may not get it done by a specific time. Plus, also, when you cross over physical years, you've got to look at, when you're ending one year and beginning a new year, you don't want to start one right at the end of the year, because then all of the expenditures are going to happen in the following year that you have to back out. So there's a process that we go through. And so there's a cutoff date. There's actually a cutoff date on capital. We can't buy capital until after a specific date. And you can't do it at the end of the year because we're trying to clean up for the previous year. You see what I'm saying? So that's why there's only a limited amount of time. So some of those are rebudgeted. A few of those are in the CPR, which if you don't use it in that specific account, which is the capital account, it's going to revert back to that fund anyway. So you're not really losing it, you're just not spending it, and it's reallocated. You're not doing it from the general fund. It's coming from the CPR, which has to be for use for recreation department uses only anyway. So it automatically goes back. So that's the reasoning. But it's all about timing, what's going on during the year. Maybe we do analysis or have to look at something. So it just takes time sometimes to get projects off the ground.
Did the pool shell repair get done or no?
They worked some on it, but they're gonna have to do some more work because they've got a water leak.
Okay, so
And the town of Silva helps with those repairs.
Well, do you have POs on the work that's been done?
Yes.
Okay.
so the 50,000 that was there last year, did they use it or no?
I don't have those reports with me, but I will get it.
Because I just don't see how we could do 50,000 again this year if they've already repaired it, or but what do you call it? What do you call
CPR.
it? CPR.
CPR.
That makes sense on that to me, but other people probably need to know how that works, so I'm glad you explained.
And they may have done some tile work. I know tiles fall off pools all the time. It's just putting it back on. So $2,500.
But when you're looking through the budget, it's the exact same number as last year.
Yeah, we should question it. But these are proposed numbers, it's not saying we're gonna spend that money.
Yeah, and all of
That's- we're
these-
budgeting up to that amount.
All these are projections, and I'll give you, for instance, the fountain down in the middle of town, us and
I understand,
Silva
but
are,
if we budgeted that last year for 50 and we spent 50, and we're asking for it again, there should be,
Yeah, I get that.
the county and the town of Silva are working with each other on the fountain down in the square, which we take dual responsibilities for it. Whenever you're talking pool or, shell placement or pumps, just for the little fountain, the initial quote come in over $100,000 to fix it. So you're talking a lot. So I mean, a Olympic-sized spool, 50,000 is a drop in the bucket for what it could take, because it could take a lot more than that. I mean, you're talking a couple $1 million asset that you're upfitting. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that can happen behind the scenes.
There's a lot of things that are like that. So is that the same way as with the CPR fund? Cause like recreation, there's a lot of items on here this year asking for the same thing as they did last year. So,
Well, like for instance, there's 50,000 always put in there for additional land purchase. That's just a standard. Whether, you know, it's kind of like, and that's always through the CPR. We always budget that, you know, for anticipated. But we may or may not use it for that thing. But it's the fund that fund can only be used for recreation. So it's going to go back in whether you use it or not. It'll go back into the fund. You can reallocate it the following year.
but what about, I mean, just in general, the other items, like boat replacement? It was in last year's, it's in this year's. Turf tank paint machine, last year's, this year's. Archery equipment. I mean, there's so many items that are the same as they were last year. They're in there again. Battery, scoreboard, refrigerator, you know, just so many things are duplicated. And something like a refrigerator, if they needed it last year and we approved it, y'all gave them the money for it, why didn't they buy it? You know?
They only buy it when they need it.
When it's anticipated to go out, kind of like what he said, you know, with the weed eaters, they're not going to do it. They're not going to use them until they absolutely need them. Those, you know, so unless it breaks, we don't need it. So we just have to. It's all anticipation. You know, we're forecasting 12 months out. It wouldn't be good for us to come in here every month and say we need a refrigerator.
The ordinance amendment for a
once
weed
it goes
eater.
down, we're wanting to be proactive instead of reactive.
So what you're saying is the refrigerator's blinking on and off a little bit when we turn the light on. We're probably gonna need one this year. And they might have said that last year, but it still kept working. So they didn't buy it. We'll put it back in the budget this year because it's still blinking.
It's part of that fund, so yeah, I mean it's designed for that.
But it's just, that makes more sense than just, you know, it was in there last year and it's in there this year, you know? When you say it like that, I mean, I can get that.
They're not rolling over asking for another. They made it work for a year,
Well,
and they think another one might.
I've got one under my
Well,
desk.
it still doesn't,
It's went out past 5 years and it still keeps sticking.
What you're looking for is actual expenditures, not
Right.
budgeted.
right.
So what they actually spent is not on here. So if we had a 25, 26 actuals, or
Okay.
you could track those.
But the taxpayers paid on budgeted.
They didn't
They
pay
didn't
more
pay,
than was
yeah,
used. This is what we budgeted, but if we didn't spend it all,
it goes back into the fund.
yeah, so
It's not spent,
I
so it's
understand
still
that.
there.
So the taxpayers will get it back the next year.
General fund, but, or our fund.
Yeah, if it
It's
gets
just-
Now, I've
moved,
heard
but-
everything goes back in the general fund till, I mean, so how do they get how does this money balance out?
It's reverted back to the fund balance.
I understand that, okay, but like,
And you make appropriations from fund balance.
okay,
And we've done quite a bit of that in the last few years. I mean, if you've got property that you wanna buy, you've got the fund balance on hand to pay for that property.
right,
And that's how some of that money
Right.
has been generated.
right, alright, okay, well, like, but like, I don't know, I still don't understand how, if you don't spend it, I understand it goes back in the fund balance, but how does it help with the next year's budget and the way that, where the taxes are at?
Look at the fund balance transfers that we have this year. It's over $5 million to keep from having
Do
to
we
raise
have a
taxes.
breakdown of where they came from,
I'm sure Darlene does,
the
but
fund balance transfers?
when we
Can
transfer
get
from
that?
general fund to keep from
Okay.
raising taxes, that's how they're getting their money back.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to see that fund balance transfer. Or transfers,
The transfers are listed in the budget, so,
they are?
yes.
Where are they at? This thing's so thick.
In the current year, you've appropriated $2,681,619 in fund balance. And we've actually reduced that by $1,300,000, where we've had additional revenues.
Okay,
And the prior year, you budgeted $7,000,000 109,721.
Year
Out of
before
one.
last, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
So much of the taxes are coming from sales and use and ads on whatever. So much is coming from property taxes. So let's say last year, based on these numbers, what we thought we were gonna spend a year ahead of time, right? For easy talking about it, let's say the total was $1 million. I know it was much more than that, but let's say that's what it was. We didn't use a lot of it because we didn't need to, correct? And it went back into the fund, the general fund. So what we're needing this year ought to be reduced by whatever went back in there and then added whatever we need now for the next 12 months, correct?
Well, essentially it is because the money's coming out of the general fund and you put the money back, so you know you requested the million again, that 900,000 or whatever it was put back to the general fund, so you're really only requesting an additional 100,000 because you're pulling that 900,000 back that you put back in.
Okay, so in theory, if you didn't ask for anything new one year, taxes would go, I know that's not possible, but just try to, that's the only way I can figure out. If you didn't ask for anything new this year, the tax amount you'd ask for would be much less than it was last year because there's money coming back into that fund. Is that right?
Balance the budget, you can appropriate fund balance, right? But that's only gonna last you a certain amount of time. What happens is, even though you pass a budget, we still go through the process. We're not just automatically writing every check and we doing everything that's in the budget because we go through on a needs basis. You know, it's like used equipment or whatever. We're still going through the process through the, you know, getting a purchase order, making sure, you know, it's the lowest price. We're trying to save money any way we can. At the end of the year, yes, there may be some savings at the end. It's going to the fund balance, which then you're spending. We spent over $10 million of fund balance in the last 2 years, right? And so you're using it for county services and programs and resources anyway, right? If you didn't have that cushion, or if you didn't want to manage it and you just said, okay, well, whatever we put in here, we're going to spend it. That means that at the end of the year, whatever we're spending and revenues match, all right? Don't manage it. You just spend it. Then you wouldn't have that cushion, right? And we're at 43 million. We're at close to 49 million on fund balance. That's still, it's adequate for a county our size. If you look across the state, actually we may be a little bit low compared to other counties our size from that standpoint for like the rainy day fund and those types of things. So I would encourage not to spend, you know, not to think of it as like, well, let's just put on fund balance and that sort of thing. So you kind of have to you look at it like managing your finances, and we're managing, you know, based on new revenues coming in, looking at projections for state, federal, and county resources for the revenue, and then managing but you're also manage the expenses too. We're trying to curb expenses. Everything we do, we're trying to cut expenses. Whether it's in the budget or not, we're still trying to find different ways to save people money, save the county and taxpayers money, right? And so that's a managed approach. At the end of it, we're doing the same thing. It's just, but you have to have a guideline. We can't just come in and say, and that's what basically the budget is. It's a guideline, right?
Well, I mean, I guess I don't understand, like, some of this smaller stuff, that I don't understand, like, why we can't not have such a big budget and just let that be under their contingency, like a refrigerator or something like that. I mean, if it's something that don't cost $70,000, you know?
Well, we do on the capital, it's individually line item in the capital budget, but when, before it's approved, it is switched over to a capital contingency fund. And you remember, you know, the reports you get every month when Darlene comes in with how much we spent contingency? Well, that's the capital. That's the stuff we're spending. So you're given a report every month on what we
Trailers,
spent.
everything.
And out of that capital contingency. So it's not in the individual budgets anymore. It's part of that capital contingency, and y'all are approving it every month.
And I can issue a purchase order until Kevin signs the amendment.
So there's different checks and balances with all of that stuff. Actually, 3 different checks and balances.
But our budget determines what taxpayers have to pay.
You are correct. You know, you base it on the millage rate, which is gonna be 24, what was the last 2 number? Anyway,
24.36.
yeah, yeah.
Six.
Because now that we've segregated out the fire, which most counties have the fire thing, now it's segregated out just like our neighboring counties.
So we've got this big fund with 47 million or whatever.
You
All
mean, are you talking about the fund
The
balance?
general fund, yep. All right. All this money that we didn't spend because we didn't need to spend it now goes back into that.
Correct.
All right.
But we won't know that until September. Because your payables and your revenue doesn't come in until end of August.
Okay, but all this,
And you have to have a budget by July 1st, so. We won't know.
I understand. But I don't think I'm asking the question right. Let's say that $50,000 Canada Gate one. All right. We budgeted that last year. The people paid so we could pay for that. We didn't use it, so it goes to the fund balance.
That'll go back, it's fund balance of the CPR fund,
Okay,
not the
let's
general
use something
fund.
that's
It
not
doesn't,
in.
that doesn't go into the general fund.
All right, what does go in the general fund? Give me a,
Everything other than recreation department.
okay. If you're gonna buy social services a car, would that apply?
Bad example too. Sorry. 50% of their budget is covered by the states and feds, so
Well,
that's
why I
not all
said,
county
what-
money.
Give me an example then, that's what I'm saying.
Um,
What other department would it not be that way with?
Well, I mean, we can still pick on maintenance, I guess. I mean, maintenance, if they didn't buy a vehicle and we'd allotted a vehicle because they fixed the one that they had they didn't think they could fix, then we would say, well, do you need a vehicle? And then they'd go, well, we can make do maybe till next year. That's an example, right? So that money, even though it's not used, that would be going back into the fund balance at the end of the year.
Okay, but then if we had that for a vehicle, we didn't have to spend it. It goes back in fund balance. Next year, we put it in there for vehicle because, well, they fixed that one, but it's not gonna last forever, right?
Right.
So we put it in the budget again next year. Then people's gonna be paying for that again, even though it's back in the fund balance.
So
Are they not?
you're asking if they're paying for it twice, is what you're asking.
Yeah, if you're asking for it twice and it goes
Right.
back to the fund balance, how are we not
Yeah, that's
paying
what
for it?
the-
Even though it's already been
That's what didn't make,
allocated.
that's what didn't make any sense to me.
So
Let me
there's-
give you an example. When we adopted the budget last June, what was gas prices? They have increased. We don't have any way of getting more money for that, so we're gonna have to make it up in the current year's budget.
I understand, but that's what our rainy day fund's for, right?
I think what he's asking is, like,
That's what
these
contingency is for.
projects are something that's requested. And the money that's not being spent, you're putting that back, just say it's not something to do with the recreation, it's put back in the general fund. Are we using that money that we put back in the general fund, which I would assume we are, or are we charging the taxpayers again for it?
I'll give you an example that'll work. Last year in the budget, it was Jacobson mower for Cashers approved to buy. And I just said somebody didn't want it and would rather fix the one they had. Okay? So they fixed the one they've got. We had $78,000 in that budget to buy one. So they didn't buy one. This year they hadn't bought one because he doesn't want it and he's working with what he's got. Let's say you don't need one for 2 more years. Well, are we going to put that in that budget again and say we need that mower when the money should already be in the fund for that mower? But we're going to ask for it again. Does that make sense what I'm saying now?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. I didn't say it like that. I don't understand it.
It's
If
hard
it's
for me to
back in the
explain
fund
it. Well,
balance, Then why do we ask the taxpayers for it again?
Okay. Trying to put this. So the budget has decreased this year, right? So you have to separate out your operational and your capital, right? Because the operational is the one ever growing. Capital needs kind of ebb and flow based on need and, you know, the utilization of the equipment, that sort of thing. So in your circumstance, there's two mechanisms. One is just the mechanism whereby it goes back into fund balance. Now, to get a balanced budget, that's all we're required to do. You can appropriate fund balance, call appropriated fund balance, right? But you do that several times in a row, and you're probably going to, you know, have to start raising taxes. So we don't do that. We try to manage it where it's going into fund balance for buying the, you know, the things that the board wants to do, like the $10 million of the last 2 years of extra stuff, right? But then you get into specific projects, and like a project didn't get done. You can restrict, it's called restricted fund balance, and it shows up in our audit report as restricted fund balance, meaning that it's not a part of your main fund balance. It's restricted. So even though it's in the checking account or wherever, the money. So that's the two mechanisms. So did I answer that question? I'm not sure if we're,
I think
I mean,
that-
either way, you can, it's a savings, fund balance is the savings account, the rainy day fund, right? And I understand where you're going with it. You know, the ad valorem is about, 57% of the budget, of the whole budget. So the other parts are volatile, the fees. So out of the whole 108 million, 58 million is coming from ad valorem. That's the one that you can control. That's the only one this board can control, the only revenue source. Because you don't know, even if you set fees, you don't know how many people are going to be building houses. You don't know how many, you know, everything else is a guess. We're guessing, right? That's what a budget is. It's a forecast based on previous years. So did I answer that
Housing
question?
market
No.
crashes, so we're gonna be out money, we're gonna be dipping into that.
So, yeah, if there's
This
a housing
gives us-
crisis, we would have thing. If the sales tax started dropping, which it's been flat, you know, so we can't compare growth there. So this year, there's no tax increase. So everything's flat from that standpoint. But it's still projections. Everything is projected.
That one mower, we already approved to pay for it.
Yeah,
They didn't buy it.
correct.
So the money's in there for it.
Yeah, and if you want to appropriate the fund balance for that mower, you can.
No, I'm just saying,
Well, I mean,
if
just
we
one-
don't appropriate it, where is, I mean, going,
So you may have had another department that needed trucks during the year that they didn't need in July, but sometime during the year, they had a problem with it and had to have a new vehicle.
HHS
that
might
could
have been
be-
out and had an accident,
Right.
and we have to replace that vehicle. That's
more money for
fund
fund
balance.
balance to buy.
I understand that, but 3 years, 4 years from now, if they keep that mower working that good, is it not gonna be on the budget again for that mower? So we're not taking money, we're taking money from the fund balance either way for the truck wreck, but we're also charging people for that mower twice.
I don't think you're necessarily charging them twice, because if you buy the mower, you're still gonna collect the same tax the next year. It's not changing the volume of cash coming in. It's changing the appropriation of where it's going. Whether there's an accident or not, whether it's used for a mower or not. If we bought the mower and we then had an accident, we would still be pulling from fund balance to pay for the car.
Understand?
So we're not going back to the taxpayer and saying, all right, we had 3 vehicles that broke down, 2 weed eaters that are broken, a skid steer that's broken. That's over budget. We need to get an additional 2 cents from every person this year. There's no true up at the end of our fiscal year to what we actually spent for equipment, wages, all that. We're forecasting what we think we will be spending. There's a $43 million savings account in case we go over. If we don't go over, fantastic. But we still have to put to that nest egg just in case next year we're not as fortunate.
I get
So-
that, but the go over
We
is-
went over the last 2
So
years.
I have a
about
question.
$2 million.
how can, I didn't mean to interrupt you while it's on my mind. Okay, if it's appropriated for a certain thing or a certain fund, why does the board not know about it?
Every month you get the report, y'all approve it.
The report for what?
For the
Finance report.
Budget
Has
transfers,
the
during the
contingency.
contingency
I know,
transfers.
but like, it's not broken down. I mean, it's so, just chunked together that a rocket scientist couldn't break it down. What I'm getting at is like,
It's in the budget, y'all approve it at the beginning of the year.
if
What
you
it's
got
showing
to
is
move
actually the
it to
actual
a
transaction.
different budget, I mean, why does the board not know?
Well, if you, the contingency, I have a separate page on contingency
Yeah.
that lists the transfers between the departments if they're needed.
And is that broken down within itself?
Yes.
But we don't get that, right?
Well, you get the total for the month.
Yeah, but we would like to have a breakdown of what's broken down in the total. I think that would, like, we wouldn't be asking these questions right now if we knew that. You know what I mean? So maybe if we get a breakdown of that, that'd be great. Then we'd know when stuff was moved and to where. Breakdown of the,
So, Mark, we got the general fund. If a truck breaks down, that's where it comes out of to fix it, right?
Mid-year.
Huh?
Say it happens mid-year.
Yeah, whenever it happens, we're gonna take the money that we've stored up as our nest egg to do what we need to do. But also in that fund is a little chunk of it is that mower that we bought. Right?
Correct.
We haven't used it, it's still in the general fund. If we need one 4 years from now, we're gonna ask for it again in the budget to go into the fund to buy it with. We already had it in the fund. You see what I'm saying now?
I understand what you're saying, but it's utilization.
So you're paying for it twice, it's just staying, the when you paid for it the first time, it's staying in that
Well,
fund until
that's-
you might use part of it for the truck that breaks down.
Right. Yeah. But taxpayers aren't paying for it twice. This is projected budgets that given to us by the departments. Once we say we're gonna need this much money, which this year is 108 million, to cover these expenses, then each department knows what they requested. You throw this out the window. All the money goes to the general fund or the different funds and we allocate these things that we've approved out of that budget as they are requested, and we have receipts for them.
And over the years, it's built up, and we've used, I don't even know how much we've used the past
About 10 million.
3
10
years.
million.
So
I mean,
it's,
the state requires us to have 25%, right?
That's your policy. You have a cash management policy, and it's 25%.
And
How many months would that carry the county if we had, let's say the fiscal cliff hit and no money was coming in? 3 months operating expenses
Yeah.
is what that is.
I guess I just don't like it because if I look at something and I tell the taxpayers in the county, well, we've all approved this budget and this is where it's gonna be spent. And then, it's almost like filling up an unlevel piece of concrete or something, and you just kind of smear the money around that in the holes of where you need it, but it's not really being, I don't know, it's just not that upfront about where it goes or why it wasn't in the budget for the people that it was left for. I guess I don't understand why that, and I do understand why it has to go back to fund balance, I understand that, but why the departments can't have that money either for the next year or whatever. And then we wouldn't be charging the taxpayers again, but it's still because we have to keep that
What you're
big
asking
fund
to do
balance.
is that each department have its own account,
Yeah,
and it doesn't go back to the general fund.
no,
So-
I can,
So you're saying,
allocated.
yeah, it's allocated, it's in their account, they spend it, turn in receipts. If they have leftover money,
It stays.
it stays with them.
right, even if it all was still in the general fund or whatever, they would still have that leftover money.
So,
Because to me, that would give departments more incentive to want to try to be more saving instead of spending.
So whatever the,
Historically, when do that, and military does that a lot, federal government does that a lot, comes the end of the year and they try to find out where they can spend that money so they can get that same pot of money next year. It's not a savings. It's like, oh, if we don't spend this money, we're not gonna get it next year. And so they spend the money, and I've seen it
Yeah, I
too many
understand that.
times.
Yeah, I understand that. I know a lot of the government entities do that.
and then the budget each year is gonna go
County
up and
government
down,
wouldn't
up
be
and
any
down.
different.
I guess I just don't like it because of how, I don't feel like I'm presenting to the people, this is what we're gonna do with this, and then at the
Well,
end of the year, it's not.
It's not a hard budget. It's projected and it's a wish list. And this is the money that we need to keep
Well,
the
that's what
government,
we're here to cut, the wishes.
yeah, without cutting services.
On the other side of the spectrum, there's some things we need that's not in here, I think. So, but before I get to that, the wants and needs thing that we've been talking about, I'm not saying any of these are or they're not, but I'm just got a question whether, in my mind, whether they are or whether they're not, is, or I don't know what it is. In general health, it says cover for shelter turf area, 35,000. I don't know what that is, where it is. That's the wording of it. But if we need it, okay. But I don't know what cover for shelter turf area is. Social services asking $22,750 for 35 task chairs, which is office chairs. That's $650 a piece. And do they need 35 right this minute? I mean, are they all worn out or?
All the same age.
Okay.
They've been there since the building was built.
Okay. And
I'd take a chair out of that last lawnmower.
$650 each seems high to me. I don't know. Maybe they're not. I don't shop for chairs very much, but, we're asking for 2 bleachers with shades. I think one of them's for Mark Watson, one of them's for Cullowhee. If we need that, we need it, but I don't know how much of that is a need right this minute. CJ Harris Fishing Pier, it's in here twice for 13,000.
And all these are coming out of the CPR.
Okay.
Yep.
So what that means is it's not, taxpayers not paying for that, but we got to spend it on something, basically, right?
Well, it's for capital improvements that's been identified by the recreation staff.
Hey, Ken, what's CPR?
Conservation,
Okay.
preservation funds. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one thing that whoever's listening or tuning in watching this needs to know. $12,500 for a dog park shade. If they're not having to pay for that, I'm sure they don't mind. But if that's coming out of their property taxes, they don't want to pay that, so.
Dog park would be, and, well, I don't know. No, it would be that CPR. That would be CPR, sorry.
Does that microphone not work?
So-
Kevin's
I didn't
always
see
putting
that.
his over there. Well, she can use her own there, Kevin.
Dog park's health,
Appreciate sharing.
yeah, dog park's
Sorry.
health department, correct?
The health department, or you're
That's
talking
not-
about the animal shelter, or are you talking about the rec park?
It's
Because there was
rec
an
park,
issue
dog
with,
park shade.
if it's the animal
It's for the rec department.
for the rec department. Okay.
What page is that on, Michael? Do you have a page or not?
See, I see dog park equipment. Unless it's not in capital. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, dog park shades, page 1 under the
Capital improvement.
$12,500. Is that coming from taxpayers or is that coming from,
That's coming from the CPR.
so that's a grant or a fund from the state? Some other money, taxpayers are not paying for that, correct?
Well, it's money that's set aside for specifically for the recreation department, so it's a growing fund. So it can be Part F, it can be a lot of different sources. And it's probably, I guess we do have yeah. And we have the actual, so we have to stick with federal and state guidelines on anything animal related. So like even with a dog park, there are certain requirements that you've got to have. And I would speculate that is one of them. I can confirm that though.
And that's the
It's
same.
not one of them because that dog park has been there. It's the one in Cashers. It's been there and they've got one little part of it shaded and it's been like that. So if it's required, it's never been up to.
I can make the ask. There's regulations change a lot, so.
So is that something comes out of people's property tax money or no?
It depends on if we got a grant for it, and we'll have to look at we'll chase the dollar on that. We can let you know.
There's one on there, page 80 in the big book, I think. It says inmate phone services, $34,800. But that shouldn't cost anything because according to the sheriff, the inmates pay for their phone service. So
And we've got the revenue included, but we've got to pay the expense for it. So the money comes in from the inmates, and then we have to pay it out for the service.
okay, but the way it looks, maybe it's just because hadn't done this for years and years, but the way it looks in that book, it's in under our expenses. So you'd think if anybody looks through it, why are we paying that for? What you're saying is, we're paying for it, we're getting reimbursed.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the first several pages of the revenue sources. So.
This is an odd question, but I ran into somebody that had been incarcerated, and they were complaining, and they said that they had money left over that they didn't get back in a check.
If they leave the jail, they get their money back.
They do?
They do.
I mean, it was only like, I said, well, how much was it? Because I thought it was going to be, you know what I mean? They said, oh, I don't remember, it's $3 or $4, but they didn't get it back because, well, they said they wouldn't write a check under $5. Is that right? Or $5 or something like that.
They issue cards to them also.
Oh, when they leave, so
When
they'll
they
get the
leave.
money back on a card?
They get their money back on a card.
Oh,
If we transfer them to another facility, we transfer that money to them by
that money
check.
goes with them too? So if they've got less than $5, they get every bit of it back? Because this guy said he didn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't know. I'll ask. Because he's like, aren't you one of those commissioners? So they get all their money back, card or check or transfer? Okay.
Yep.
Something we need on this budget that we don't have from talking to the guys up there at Andrews Park. They've got Starlink for, I guess, the whole park. But after 4, 5, 8 days or so, a month, it starts slowing down so slow they can't even use their credit card machine. Is there some way we could get like a Starlink Mini just for the office? Because they can't even charge people with what they've got after so many gigs or whatever, it slows down so much
Was
they
that
can't use it.
Cashers?
Yeah.
Or isn't that another source for internet up there?
Frontier.
Yeah, it probably have to be Starlink
That's not
or it's not gonna work. Hey, I got another question on that. Somebody asked me just the other day too, and maybe you can explain it better. How come the permits, they said our permits here are higher than any other county, like Haywood and different places they were saying. And like Haywood's like $75 for a permit and ours were at $150. and they went up to 200. I mean, I didn't know what to tell them what the reasoning was.
I don't know what they're inspecting for $75. I'd like to see, everything is like criteria and it's based on the amount of trips that you go out for. You know,
This
on
was
certain
somebody
certain
that
times.
got an electrical permit,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, electrical time, they may go out there 4 times. So you gotta cover your trip charges.
So
it-
Haywood County don't charge
I don't
$75 for
know, if you,
That's
we
just
can
what
do
they
some
were
research
saying.
on it.
that? Cause I
and-
gotta call them back.
But every time we do a fee analysis, we try to incorporate all of the counties around us, and we're pretty competitive.
I understand about having to run back and forth, but, okay.
Yeah.
What options will we have for them at Andrews Park?
We can check into the Starlink for them, for the office.
I think that would help them out a lot, and it'd help us out a lot. If they can't collect money, we can't get it money.
I know Balsam West isn't far, so we may check with them and see if they can at least run Andrews Park Road a line before the dam. But even Duke's got Starlink sitting on top of their unit.
Another thing, the Board of Education is wanting us to give more teachers raises again this year. Well, what about for the SROs that's at all these schools? Because the county's paying for that, right? They're paying the cops for that. But they don't get paid overtime for staying at ball games and all that sort of thing, from what I understand. They should be paid for their time. I feel like before teachers should get an extra supplement. I mean, it'd be great if we could give everybody an extra supplement, but I don't see why anybody would be getting any extra when those SROs are spending extra time on their own, not getting paid for it. Does that make sense? I'm wondering why, if we're providing the cars for them to get there and paying their salaries to be there all day during the day, why couldn't the school board pay for their extra time? Is that an unfair ask?
We do bill the Board of Education for some of those SROs, and that's part of the revenues in this budget too.
For some of them?
We bill them for 3 of them in total.
Okay, well, there's 9 of them, right? So I feel like if we can give that much, could they not pay the overtime for ball games or whatever? Just my thought.
They should be getting the comp time and they 5K. Yeah. So they're also on the same plan as every other deputy. So they're classified as every other deputy. So they have to go by our policies as far as overtime and comp time compensation. So, I mean, we can look at the policy from that standpoint, but you know, they've got to be consistent with every other deputy.
So they're getting paid now for going to ball games and?
What, comp time.
Okay.
So they're getting enumerated. It's just not maybe cash. I mean, it's not in their check, but it'd be compensation time, which is time off.
Time off with pay? Is that time off with pay?
I have a question for the sheriff, I guess, since he's here. For the boat that you guys are requesting, I think I asked last time what year what year model the boat that you have is, 2018, I believe.
Thank you. The boat's 2017, motor's 2016. That boat was purchased before I got here. So the reason that we've asked on the boat, we've had 2 body recoveries out of the lakes, and had one rescue involving 2 people in their kayaks out of the lake. That boat is designed as a fishing boat. The workable area in the boat is not sufficient for more than 2 people to be in there. Our drone that we have, it's underwater drone, you can't deploy it out of the boat because it's so heavy. Getting it back into the boat is very difficult. Getting a body on board from a recovery is extremely difficult.
So you use the boat for rescue and recovery, right?
We do. The sheriff of each county is responsible for every search.
Right.
So whether you want your name on it or not, your name's on that search. If the fire department goes out and they find somebody before we get there, we're still responsible for that search. But the boat is, we use it during the holidays and stuff to try to patrol the lakes. And it works good, but you're not going to be able to arrest anybody and put them in the boat because you can't get more than 3 people on the boat, really. So,
That's what I was wondering, if
Yeah.
it was used for patrol or.
yeah,
I mean,
we actually took the boat and had it appraised so we could look at maybe trading the boat in.
that's what I was going to ask that next.
And that's how we found out that when the boat was purchased, it was purchased as a used boat.
What was the
then
trade-in value on it?
just ballparking, I'm thinking it's around 24 and a half, something like that. They found a repaired spot in the hull that we didn't know about. I'm not a boat guru.
It just blows my mind that, well, not really blows my mind. I mean, it's all emergency management and public safety and things like that. But
Right.
I just figured that, I guess, emergency management would do the rescue and and then the rescue squad would do their part. But you're saying that it's the sheriff's duty.
It's our responsibility for the search. Now, all these other agencies you spoke of, they are involved. We always, just about every call that we go on search-wise, we've got the rescue squad, fire department, EMS, they get involved. And
How much is the boat, the new boat?
I know you asked me that.
50,
It's 50,
Cost was 56,
yeah, 50.
56.
972.
So in that 24,000, give or take, will that come back to you guys, or will that come back to the county?
That'll
It'd
go
be
to the fund balance.
it'd come off the boat,
It'll come off the boat price.
the boat price.
That's what I was getting at. So
We,
full purchase price, what I'm getting at is full purchase price. Is that 80, maybe?
It's
80,000?
56,000. We
Okay.
recommended 30,000 for the
Okay,
trade-in.
all right. Okay. I'm just trying to wrap my head around, I know you guys do a lot of
Right.
recoveries and things like that, but the rescue part of it, I just wasn't fully understanding why we have to have several different departments doing that, which I'm glad you guys are
Yeah.
doing it, because
I can,
everybody gets rescued.
I can tell you the number of searches we've done in the past several years has been plentiful. We've had the last search we done was for a lady up in Cashers there, and regretfully that didn't turn out the way we hoped. But we had multiple agencies involved in that because canines, you can put them in the woods, but within 30 to 45 minutes, that canine spent because of it searching so hard and trying to see everything. Searchers, because of the terrain there, we had to use multiple agencies, and then just the coverage there. We do a 300 meter, 500 meter search, and then we go out from there. But most all these agencies, the fire departments, are trained with the search and rescue and stuff, so they're familiar with what we're looking for when we're in the woods. You don't have man tracking experience. And just the general public, we've had offers for people to come out and help search, but unless you know what you're looking for, it's kind of difficult, and you can't train somebody in just a few short minutes to look for what you need to be looking for.
So the new boat is going to help you to be able to assist in rescues, and
It would give us, it would be low, it would sit lower in water, so accessing the drone or accessing a recovery would be a whole lot easier.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying to, as we was talking earlier, needs and wants. Just trying
Right.
to establish the need.
Right.
And I see the need for the rescue and for, recovery of someone.
Right.
But I'm just trying to,
I mean,
Also a patrol boat,
Yeah.
you're using it in several capacities.
yes.
They wouldn't big enough to haul somebody in if you need to.
It would be, it'd have a workable area that's a lot larger than what we've got right now, because of the design of the boat.
and I feel like I know the answer to this, but if another department needs it, they could utilize that, or you guys could go out and help them with that boat.
Yes. Anytime we have a water search.
I'm sure all hands are on deck.
Yeah. The last search we had in Cleveland up there for that young man that drowned up there, we had Henderson County, the rescue squad in Glenville Cashers. We had the fire department up there. We had agencies from down here, rescue squad and different agencies coming up there. Because just the time spent, we had wildlife there. And then with all that, we ended up having to revert to some of the old ways of trying to recover. And Glenville Cashers had to bring out boats that have been on the water in 15 years.
And we have a lot of lakes in the county too.
Yes, a lot of lakes. And the recoveries the searches have been so many that our next dog will probably be a search dog, because we've got so many. Our canines that we have right now do article searches. So if it's within a couple of hours, we can send an article, and maybe within 30 minutes, because our canines now are so hyper and so driven that they'll wear themselves out in 30 minutes. But if we can find them within that time frame, then we're pretty good. We can utilize those canines, but something that if you want a canine to last a little longer, you might have to have a canine designed for searches just like that. So.
Hey, I got a question about the SRO officers. I don't know if it's to the sheriff or to y'all, but, and I don't mean this wrong, but like, if you give them, time off, paid time off, when can they take that? Because if, you know what I'm saying? When can they take it?
We try to let them take it in the summertime. It just depends on our staffing levels. Whenever I first came in and got sworn in, some of the comp time was way up there. I mean, it was way up there. And so we've finally got that regulated. But most of the guys will take it off during the summer. They try to. But we have summer school. And then they also have to attend their trainings and stuff.
So they don't get paid in the summer like teachers do because they work for the sheriff's department, right?
They get paid. We work. I mean, we'll work them during the summer, so they don't get.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying they don't get the summers off. SRO officer.
No, they won't get the whole summer off. We'll be working.
Okay.
Our biggest thing for the SROs is just the amount of time that the men and women SROs are spending at schools. They'll leave 8, 10 o'clock at night and back in there at 7:30 next morning. I think the last count I had of activities, 299 activities are outside the school hours that they were working.
I agree that those folks should be getting whatever they need because they're the ones that protect their kids,
Well, I did ask in the budget this year for a little extra overtime money so that the two officers, usually it's kind of different. I'd have to sit down and explain to you as far as the MOU. But the two officers usually that are first there, they get the comp time. And instead of doing the comp time, I wanted to pay them the overtime because most of them will not be able to take that time off because most of our officers, you can look across the board at any of our officers, they're not going to be able to take all the time that we get off. Holidays, they're not going to take them off because we're 24/7, and we respond to everything. And then our guys had to come in for court dates, for trials. We had officers today that got called like an hour's notice and had to be here for court for a trial. So, so things in our world will look a little different, and unless you're on our side. I mean, you don't see it. It's hard to see from the outside, but you know, there's a lot of things that demand our time. So family time is limited for most officers. That's why the divorce rate is so high, and why there's some other problems that the officers have. But we do our very best, and we push, and sometimes it burns an officer out. So we're trying to keep from burning them out, trying to recruit new people. We're slowly but surely getting our ranks full, but it's a task. I mean, the schooling that they go through now, you're looking at 9 months before you can even get an officer on the road. So it's difficult to say the least. So, but no, nothing in our budget is nothing is wants. It's what we need. I'll just go ahead and address it while I'm saying here. The vehicles, we asked for 10. Didn't ask for them because we didn't need them. This year we're having to replace all the SRO vehicles. We're trying to replace all the SRO vehicles. And I've even put in a request to the state to try, because when we replace all those and we negate another area that needs vehicles. So I put into the state, which I've not heard anything back. Now I don't anticipate hearing anything back. Trying to get some extra money to.
When you get new vehicles, I mean, I know they're maybe wore out or mileage, but do y'all sell them on the surplus? Is that where they go to? Okay.
On the vehicles, you talk about SROs getting new vehicles.
Yes.
Will they get hand-me-downs, or will they get
Right now,
higher ups get the new vehicles, and then sort of the chain of command, the vehicles go down the rank, or they'll get a new vehicle?
This year, so far, I've been able to replace 4 SRO vehicles with new ones.
That's good.
I've got more that will get replaced this coming year, hopefully. We're trying to replace some of the jail cars that are getting wore out because they're running transports. We're running,
About transports now.
yeah, we're running 500-600 transports a year.
And last year was a van, is that right?
We got the van and we utilize it, but for like running a single occupant to Henderson County or to Cherokee County or something like that for writs, or having to take them back to prison or whatnot, we'll try to use just like the Durango that we've got. We've got 170,000 miles on it.
And, you see some of these SROs driving around. I don't know if all of them's SROs, but some of these old cars the cars are from Chip Hall's first term. I mean,
Well, some of the cars are from Jimmy Ash's.
I was going to say probably Jimmy Ash. Yeah.
So we're trying to get all those black and whites out of the fleet, but we're still having to use them for spares. Some of them have real high mileage, and if you've ever been in a Chargers, the front ends after you get 75,000-80,000 on them, and we got over 100,000 on several of them. The front ends get wore out.
That's the car I was talking about. The last one I seen was a slick top car, I believe.
Yeah, the Durangos we've had some issues out of. Had several recalls on those, oil coolers and stuff like that. Had motors put in 2 of them. So we've tried to switch back to Ford. So we're switching over to the Ford Interceptors, and they seem to be doing better for us. So we're pleased with that. But yeah.
This is just a question, not about budget.
All right.
Have you guys changed colors again? I seen a silver car, I thought, the other day.
That's our SROs.
Is that SRO?
That are our SROs.
Okay, so all SROs are going to have a different.
I wanted them to have something special because they bridge a gap for us between the public, between the school board, and everything, and the children themselves. And I want them to be just a little bit different than the rest of us on the road. So,
Well, that's good.
uh,
I was wondering that. I was past that one.
Yeah. and it looks good, no?
Nice car.
But
All the highway patrol pulling up the side of it.
That's every time he comes through the crossroads, I'm like, ah. And that's Officer Revis.
well, and it also people don't get used to seeing the same thing. They say something different. I'm like, oh, yep. Catches their
I
attention.
just wondering about that, if he's gonna have to repaint all the other cars, so something just different for the
No,
SROs, right?
no, we're not repainting. We order in the color we need, and then just stripe it. And it's a lot cheaper that way.
That's all the question.
That it? Thank you.
Oh, one more question, Doug, sorry. It won't be just a second. The Vividraw program that,
MAT.
yeah,
Yes,
is that going?
Vivitrol is going
How's it
going well. We've got I don't have the current participants, the number of participants, but the ones that are leaving our facility on Vivitrol are not coming back.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's why we done that,
Yeah. We've had some that didn't get to finish that have gone outside or got transferred to another facility, and some of the other facilities don't do that. And then we've had one, I think, that switched over because of the distance is having to travel. They switched over to another medication.
New drugs out there.
Initially, that program was a grant, correct?
Still is.
Yeah, so are you
It was,
receiving that grant every year?
That's a grant that we've got, and we had to extend the state grant for the expenditure purposes, trying to get all that taken care of. And we're trying to utilize some new programs through that grant for the inmates that are coming in.
See, that's a need right there.
Yeah.
That's for sure. That's a need.
And-
Everything that y'all do is a need, but
Yeah.
that right there is,
Well, and one of our employees that manages that grant is paid from those grants.
Right.
So that
me
does.
initially, he was having a hard time finding somebody to fill that position to
Oh,
minister or give the,
we've got that taken care of. The problem we had was the Pure Sport. We couldn't get nothing local Pure Sport wise, so we went outside the county, found a Pure Sport group. They're doing great, so we're pleased with our services. So we've continued that partnership. Partnered with EMS, so once they leave outside our walls, they can continue to get those shots. And EMS will meet with us once to twice a month, and they'll give shots at a location here.
Is that
So
working out good?
it is. We're pleased with it, and hopefully it'll continue to grow. So
That's good. That's one of the first things I've heard about helping somebody get off of drugs.
we're trying to give them a piece of hope
Right.
and bridge a gap for them. So
thank you.
that's it. Thank you.
Is there any additional items y'all want to talk about this evening, or?
I would like to touch base on the telephones. Yeah. That's a huge number when you go across all the departments. And don't we have fiber connectivity to most of our
Trying to get
locations
on
now?
all IP phones. You know, phone systems are really expensive, and so
Well,
you pay
this-
maintenance, and so we're trying to
Is
get off
that Is that the phone system or is
It's
telephone?
phone. It's all everything. It's phone system. It's cell phones.
It just says telephone. It doesn't say.
It's
Might
all
talk to
everything.
Matt over there, and we're gonna be off air.
No, I was just. I mean, we get our fiber services from Balsam West, right? Is that where we get our phone service through, or we?
We're switching all of them to Boston.
Okay, that should save us a little money because they're a CLEC, so they should be able to save us a little money on that. Okay.
Yeah, we done something a few years ago that saved us quite a bit of money, right?
The fiber connectivity, yeah.
Yeah,
It will-
that part, the fiber, you know, it saves on all the servers. So now we have a centralized server location, where before every department and every building had its own server system. And so now it's all together.
Dedicated trunk
Logan,
for.
I'll put Logan on the spot. Are we gonna centralize the phone system?
I'm trying to move everything to Balsam West this year.
Okay,
No Frontier. Phone system wise. There's little things like fire panels and stuff that still have analog lines. They're still Frontier.
okay. Well, I was more talking about the phone equipment. Are we gonna put it in the,
Oh,
Admin
well,
building.
it's all based off Balsam West. They
Right.
take care of it.
Oh, the servers at Balsam West?
Pardon?
The server is located at Balsam
Right,
West?
yeah, it's their
I
phone
gotcha.
servers.
okay?
Yeah.
Are we renting rack space from them or,
Yeah, there's,
okay,
not specifically for the phones, but for our servers.
right, okay. Sorry, Logan.
No.
You can sit around the corner, but you can't hide.
I could have been up there.
I got some more for you. In the big budget book, page 69, this is our department, I think. Is that right? Is this the commissioner's department? So I'm not picking on everybody else and not us too, but I don't know what it is.
Governing body, yes.
Do what?
Governing body,
That's us, right?
that's you.
So what was employee appreciation? Current budget was $5,000. Year to date is $19,556. What would that have been for?
It was for payouts for retirees. Pay them $50 a year when they retire.
So we had a lot more people retire than normal this year, is that?
It had been several years since they gave any awards out because when COVID happened, they didn't bring them all back in. So we went back in retro to the ones that didn't receive anything prior
Just
to
in there.
that.
You remember last year when you had them all in here?
Yeah.
It
All
was
the
like
That's, that's what this
60
was
people.
Yes.
for. All right, so. I got the wrong page number on it.
Yeah, it was on
Page
70.
No, it's 69. I see it right there now. It's third one up. So that was for a bunch of people over several years is the reason that was so much higher than 5,000, right? So why can't we have that budget number go back to 5,000 for this year instead of leaving it at 20 since we did all those? I mean, there's no sense. I mean, there shouldn't be a reason it would need to be that high again this year, right? Or is there?
Unless you want to have another employee appreciation, program, but no, you can take it, 5,000 is fine.
What do y'all think about that?
I think so,
I
yeah.
mean, if we caught up a bunch, and
Yeah.
that's why it costs more than proposed, and we've been proposing 5,000, I think
That's fine.
we could go back to 5, couldn't we?
Yeah.
In the contracted services line on page 70, we had 30,000 in there for this year. But year to date was all we spent was $185. I know that was probably the lowest we've ever spent for any contracted service line, but could we cut that from 30,000 recommended down to 10 or 20 since?
Just if you do a project or a program or want to do a study, it's going to be more than 30. It's going to be 30,000, but that's fine as long as you understand that during the middle of the year, if you want to do something, you'll just always have to do a budget amendment to fix it.
What would an example of that be?
Like a Equinox study. Those are
They would
usually
have to
around
do a
100,000.
budget amendment to transfer funds
Yeah.
out of general fund, which is what these would come out of. And if we don't spend them, they go back. So
That's fine, I just didn't know if that
It's,
was something we might would do.
it's the same either way we do it.
I was just questioning because, you know, if we had 30,000 in the budget and only spent 185, why don't we? But I can see why you might would. Miscellaneous donations, that very last one there. Budgeted 25,000, only spent 5,800. What would be example of that?
If the youth sports came to you and asked for a donation, you would have the money appropriated.
4-H archery wanted to come up and they needed funds to make the
Like
renovations
football.
on the property that we just purchased the out by Whittier. Or they needed corrals for their
Perfect
sheep.
example of that, I've been dealing with it for the past few weeks. The Youth Flag Football League, they use the Smoky Mountain High School's football field. The rental for that field normally for normal people, Dr. Ayers can correct me if I'm wrong, is $1,000 per day. But youth football, it's $1,000 for the entire season. Plus they have to pay whatever the custodial fees are to clean it up after they leave. And so we pay that fee for them. We pay that $1,000 for the usage of the field for the season and whatever the custodial fees are. And we don't know what those are until they're billed. And then we'll do regular football. We'll also do youth soccer and softball and baseball and all of that. So that's what that miscellaneous comes to.
That's under governing body. It's not throughout here everywhere.
No,
That's just-
because that,
And the agency.
we've made a decision to pay that for the youth sports, to promote our youth sports.
Okay.
I think that's good, but you would kind of think the school board would pay for that. Absorb that in theirs. I mean, I'm all for it, but they're supposed to be all for the youth too.
All right, I got another one, tax collections, page 73. We got contracted services, we had 7,500 in our budget, actual year to date 6,000. But this year, 30,000 is requested. Why that jump?
Contracted services?
Yeah, right above tax collections there.
Oh. Okay.
See what I'm saying?
That's in finance.
Finance.
I'll have to go back and look at that. It was some program that she was wanting to do for the upcoming year.
It's tax collections.
The label's at the bottom of the
Yeah,
list.
it's at the
Oh, okay.
bottom of page 71, finance.
No.
I see what it
That's
is.
the line
Yeah,
item at
that's
the
line
end of
item
the
at the end.
finance budget.
Told you that was confusing.
Contracted services.
Where the
tax
totals are,
collection.
that's,
72.
Yeah.
Tax collections, is that not, I don't know, I don't wanna speak out of line. Was it, wasn't they requesting some money for something to do with the reevaluation? Wasn't they requesting additional?
The administration.
Yeah.
It just jumped a lot this year. I don't know.
Yeah, from 1,500
Well, it
to
could be, did we change?
6,000.
We didn't change the attorney we were using for collections, did we?
No, same one's doing that.
We're getting that correct for you on that one.
Yeah, because it went from 7,500 to 30,000.
The only other one I had like that was the GIS contracted services. This time was 17,000 over budget. What made that jump? What caused that?
Going through an upgrade process with Avion, which is their third-party provider for all of our GIS stuff. So if you notice, like, and I think Mark's mentioned this a few times about the topographical layer has been inaccurate or non-existent on the site. We're trying to get that fixed. So we're having a new interface on the front end to make all of it happen because we use Arc Info, but that front end that you see on our website is not Arc Info. It's a different utility that they're just bringing in from the database. So we have to go through that process of getting it redesigned.
It's aggravating it being gone.
I didn't write down the page number for that one, but
74, I think.
Yeah, 73 for the ArcGIS.
Yeah.
okay, so that's why it costs more this year than normal, right?
Right, and it's gonna continue into next year.
It's gonna cost that much more every year?
I think it's a 2-year implementation process, but I will chase that down too for you.
Alrighty.
Where was the GIS at?
73.
I think that's all I got. I don't know about anybody else.
Mark Watson turf. Do we really need turf down there?
Yeah, that was cut out early on.
It was, okay,
Oh, yeah.
good deal.
Chairs up here.
I've been saying that for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Do what?
New chairs up here.
Oh,
I don't want them at their
I don't need
$650 a piece though.
No.
I'll go to Staples.
I do agree with John about the phones. I mean, if you look I looked at Macon County's budget and they might not have everything included or something, but almost every department was half of what ours are. So I don't know where they're getting their phone systems, or maybe they're not including everything that we're including in there, maybe.
Yeah,
But-
you'd have to figure out the breakdown, because I mean, a lot of times you're talking like, in, sheriff's office, for instance, you're talking MiFi's inside the cars, you're talking cell phones, the phone system. There's a lot of stuff that's in that line item where maybe other counties have divided out. Maybe they have an internet, or so you have to look at their actual code chart of accounts to see which one is included. So.
Yeah. It seems, when you read it, you about pass out $650,000 or something for phones.
It's a big number.
Are you through, Mike? Are you done, Michael?
Yeah.
On page 55, I don't mean done, but just finished with what that you're talking about. Page 55, the general government well at work, what is that? $13,700.
That is rewards for the employees that meet certain criteria during the year.
Yeah.
You think I can meet that criteria? No, I'm just aggravating. I'm
They have
aggravating you,
different
darling.
services
I'm just
during the
aggravating you.
year.
The amounts
I
are
mean,
small.
No, I'm
but
just aggravating.
Excuse me, I couldn't hear you.
If they have different services during the year.
Uh-huh.
They improve their health, which should save us on insurance
Right.
costs.
Okay,
And if they meet the criteria, they get a gift card.
so it's a,
Or they get a day's leave.
I got you, improving their health thing as well
Yes.
at work? Okay,
Yes.
I didn't know what it meant.
You're eligible for that too. We are. Right?
Gift card.
Well, I don't participate in it, but we could.
Go through nonprofits.
Okay, the legal on page 55, what is that total? Yeah, page 55.
Summary
Oh, it's a summary of,
of all
All
the
the
legal
legal-
fees, yeah.
That's a projected guess.
Costs, yeah.
oh, projected one, okay.
That also includes the money that we do for tax foreclosures, the legal fees for that.
Okay. That would be like the, I don't know.
Somebody hadn't paid their taxes for 10 years, so we foreclose on it.
But like it would also be for like, investigating the thing up there that happened at Cashers with the
Right.
man that got hit.
Yes.
Well, that's an insurance.
Is that
so-
in that? Okay,
No,
well,
it's like, Mr. Cubis, and all of that is included. Any land transactions, all of that stuff comes out of legal.
Deborah Bechtel getting health
Yeah.
department up to
Yeah,
speed. on
Any
training,
legal
it's-
advice or legal services, except for, like if it's tied to an insurance claim or, that sort of thing, then they are still partnering, so there's still some money there, but they're not the full legal counsel. That's what the insurance company does.
I got you. So legal advice through our county attorney or,
John- yeah,
and what
John.
else?
Does that include the sheriff? It does not, or it does?
Yes.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, county attorney and the sheriff, all right.
So that's $475,000, correct?
Correct.
What were we spending whenever Heather Baker was here as full-time?
The salary plus benefits.
Yeah, but
Salary's about 100 and,
she also didn't do the same,
112.
112.
did she do the same scope of work that is being done now?
Oh, yeah. Plus,
She did the sheriff and all that then? Are you sure?
But that wasn't the only legal cost. We
No.
were still using
Other
just firms
agencies
and other
as needed.
attorneys.
Right, and we still do now. correct? Yeah.
We do. 25,000 of that's for tax appeals too. If we have to get an attorney
Oh.
in Raleigh.
Okay. So foreclosure and tax appeal and, okay.
Looking at nonprofits, is there any that we want to call out? Or that y'all are wanting to make adjustments to? That haven't been done already.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. I thought we were all gonna write down what we thought.
Well, I mean, I think it's probably easier just to go into, go down by whatever. If you want to start, we'll go from there.
You tell me how you gonna do it. I don't know how you
That's
gonna
fine.
do it.
You can go ahead. Starting at I mean, there's 40 of them, so,
Some of those are not applicable though, because they didn't request anything.
right, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that did not request.
Just start at the top of the list.
Sure.
Are we gonna do the average thing or what?
Well, we're gonna talk about it. Appalachian Women's Museum, my recommendation was 8.
Ask was 10. 8's fine. Would you have them?
I had 10.
You had 10? Okay.
I had 10.
I had 10. So, go 10. Going to Awake, Child Advocacy. They had a very specific one that's 56,244. I feel like they need that.
I agree.
I'm fine with that, but I thought we were just gonna give these back to Kevin and he was gonna average them all, but if we're gonna go through.
We can
every one
we can
of them,
do that too. if we
It'll
wanna
save
do
a
that.
lot of time, is all
Yeah.
I'm saying.
That's fine. We'll do that and we'll. Okay. And we don't need to go through 'em. We'll just give them to Kevin and go from there.
Okay.
Is that any other?
All right, I have a question about the middle school. What are we gonna do about it and the proposal, because the thing here, and I don't know what's the best way to handle it, with us trying to keep this budget under control and take off of it, is if we go to the taxpayers and ask for that 30-some million, and I mean, the ground part just seems, I understand rock and I understand all that, but anyway, without hammering that to death, it just seems really huge what it's come to. What, if we go to the taxpayers and put it on them, they're gonna feel bad for the kids and put the burden on the taxpayers' shoulders. Because I think they're gonna vote to put it in just so that the kids will have what they need. Even though people are not gonna directly look and say, well, they voted on it, they're gonna look at the board and say, you put it out there, and now you've cost us all this increased tax money. So how do y'all feel?
I think if we're, better look at it real close, because it's a big number of what we might ask when you hit rock or whatever. But if we're gonna do that, then that email from Kendra said a lot. Why not go ahead and ask for what we already promised Blue Ridge but couldn't do right now? I mean, you know, originally,
Say that one more time about Blue Ridge, because we are doing that project.
Well,
We're
only
doing part of it.
We're only doing the cafeteria part of it, right?
we did,
Cafeteria and the gymnasium and everything that they had asked for.
no, not everything that was asked for or even talked about to start with. Because there was gonna be, I don't remember now, classrooms and
Yeah, if you want to talk to her.
So, Commissioner Jennings, yes, one of the first things that when we did our family meetings, community meetings, and asked for input what they wanted, the Blue Ridge community wanted an auditorium, a new gym, there was a need for a new kitchen, and then a remodel of the cafeteria. We also wanted a building to tear down that one far right pod and to build a traditional building with some new classrooms in there. So in the budget that you all allocated, you only allocated $15 million to Blue Ridge. And that money's still there. It's still allocated for the Blue Ridge projects. But the two things that were the primary need, we've been talking a lot about the wants and the needs, the kitchen was an absolute must, and the cafeteria. And so what fits within the parameters of that budget, what we're looking at now, is a new gym and the kitchen cafeteria. So those other projects, the auditorium, more classroom space, they were not to fit in the $15 million that you all have already allocated.
I
So
understand.
that was a,
I understand, that's
yes,
totally how I got it.
okay, yes, sir, that was correct.
But $30 million extra dollars wasn't fit in our budget for the middle school either. I know that was something was unexpected,
You're correct.
but
That is correct.
so why couldn't we, if we're gonna ask for more money for the school system, why not ask for enough to do both?
I can't answer that question. That's a y'all question.
If we're gonna go to the voters and say, hey, y'all will spend this much more money again on schools and your taxes gonna go up, we might as well do what,
What's the realistic cost of the additional projects at Blue Ridge?
I think our first big fat number for the huge wish list, and I'm going off memory here, somewhere between 35, 38.
32 and 35, I think.
Yeah, isn't that right? Right around 35, 38 million.
50.
Right.
That'd be on a tax bond, or that'd be on a bond that would
Be a referendum.
bond.
But I'll remind you that there are other projects that we put on the back burner as well. The bus garage being one, that's a necessity. So if you're going to go big, go all, by all means. And we're not being greedy. I'm just thinking
The garage was 5 million.
the garage was our latest number is more like 4. Isn't that right?
Say 55 million.
Well, you asked, and Todd is grinning. Commissioner Bryson is smiling at me, but you asked. But those are the culmination of all the projects. We put aside the weight room and concessions at Smoky High with some ADA restrooms and such. We said no, that's going to have to go another time because those are big ticket, big dollar items, just like you said, and they did not fit in the original amount of money that you all, as a Board of Commissioners, allocated.
And a lot of those are needs too.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if you're gonna ask, well, I know we disagree on this about the middle school. To me, it wasn't a need because we already had 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers for kids everywhere. But anyway, if we're gonna ask for that, we might as well ask for everything we possibly might need and let people vote on it if they want it. Because,
Up to y'all.
I mean, you come in here and you want your taxes lowered, but you want to spend another 60 million on schools, you can't have it both. You choose, right? Do it or don't do it.
Yes, sir. May I offer a clarification? I was out of town last week, but I watched the meeting last week. And one of the things, Commissioner Jennings, that you brought up was the building of a new school meant hiring all new staff, and that is not the case because if I'm pulling 290 students out of Fairview in grades 6, 7, and 8 and moving them to the new middle school, I'm also pulling teachers in grades 6, 7, and 8. So there will be a few additional personnel, but I think when I listened last week and watched last week, it sounded like a huge exorbitant. Like I got to staff a whole new school with a whole new bunch of folks, and that is not the case. Our team has worked hard about looking at where they will be reassigned during that time. So you did ask a question about Smoky E. I'm sorry, I got this ickiness. Smoky E, yes, those students are going, and those teachers will either come to the middle school or stay and remain at their elementary school in a K-5 position if they so choose.
Yeah.
And if I could interject one thing though, so Commissioner Jennings, your question about putting it all on one, that's, one big bond. We've not discussed that with our board, so we can't really share with you what the will of our board is, and the constituents that they serve. What we do know is our board has voted on a order of priorities, and that middle school was number one. And one of the things that we would be cautious about is presenting to the community a sum of money that was so unrealistic for our community, right? Like, because we want to be good stewards of the funds that we have through Article 41, 46. We want to be good stewards of that. So, we would want to think very carefully. Yes, there's all these things we would want to do, but our board has put out an order. This is the order of which we would want to do it. Would we have a conversation about a long-term plan to say, hey, we're going to go to the public with this bond referendum for the middle school and we're still truing up those numbers, and I think Kevin could share more. But would we want to go to the committee with a bond for a middle school to begin with? Because that's the number one priority on the school board's priority list. Yes, we would. And then would we want to, once that's sussed out, figured out, then go back down the road, come down the road and go for another bond down the, well, that'd be something that the two boards would discuss. And so I don't think our board has really ever advocated, nor would we recommend to them to do one enormous bond, because the reality is, I don't think it would pass. If we did one big bond,
Another $60 million.
yeah, I don't think it would pass, and it would be. I don't know that would be being good stewards of our community resources. But I do think our board has done a good job of setting down what the priorities are. There are people in the community that disagree, and there are people on the board, our board, that disagree and have those disagreements publicly, which is healthy and good and the way a democracy works. But our board has voted and said this is what the priorities are, and that's what our intent is, to move forward with these projects based on that priority list.
I get that. Well, the problem I got is if you live in Cashers and you're paying 64% of the taxes, would you think that's being a good steward of their money to build a middle school that nobody up there can access? I mean, that's where I'm coming from, because I'm District 4 and
Understand the
That's
constituency
my
that you're representing. So,
And
but
I think a really good thing to consider is Blue Ridge is a really tight-knit community. I would venture to say that very few students would want to come down the mountain
I don't blame them.
and come to a new middle school. So it's not that they've been intentionally excluded. It's a good community and a great little school.
But we're asking for $30 more million, most of which is going to come from people who can't even. You understand that?
I do. And I'm not sure that $30 million is the number that we would really, when we get to it, that's the amount of money that we actually need. But I understand your point totally. I'm just saying that's, our board represents their constituency as well. And they've set a priority list, and how that funding comes about is the purview of this board.
I understand your point, but
I don't think last meeting, I think Commissioner Jennings, and I don't want to speak for him, but correct me if I'm wrong, he's talking about the continued overhead for years to come of, light, all this stuff, upkeep. That, I think
Power
that's
bill, another
right. I think that's
bus
what,
route, another.
is that right? What you were getting at? Because I would imagine that you guys will be moving these teachers from
Right.
6, whatever. it
So you
is.
mean more like the utilities and the
Utilities,
operation costs,
correct.
correct? I understand.
Yeah,
You'll have school nutrition staff that move, you'll have custodial staff and bus drivers. Yes, sir.
Or administration.
We'll have a new principal.
That's all right.
nurse.
And you all pay for the school nurses as the county. The state provides a principal for a school that has anywhere over 100 students. So that state salary will be paid.
Who will pay for that?
The state gives us a principal position, an allotment for a school that has over 100 students,
Okay.
or an alternative school.
I've wanted the school the whole time. We talked about this last meeting when John and I had come to that meeting with Pinnacle. You guys were here. He presented that number of like $43 million. And that was, I believe it was 43 or 44 million. And, we was all excited. If you remember, we was all sitting here like blown away. Like, how did they do this? Move the dirt, built the school. And I know it's probably a little less students that we're wanting. But in my mind, I was thinking, all right, that's 44 million. That's another 16 million that we're going to have to move dirt, or that actually included dirt there. That's another 16 million for, fields and everything that we're going to need. Because we've allocated, of course, the 52 million with the state grant, and then we've allocated 8 million. So it's just, when I seen the numbers, I was let down, I guess, just at the fact that they've coming in a whole lot higher than what we ever anticipated. And I guess you guys were shocked too.
Indeed, we were. And, I think that, and you mentioned this in the meeting last week that I watched. We look for land. We look for property at so many different places. I went and looked for property in trade places and told Kevin about it. And so we were really searching. But the reality is we live in a terrain that is not easy for us to build. And so the spot that we purchased, that you all purchased, was the largest spot that would accommodate the school with the fields and all that.
And
So,
have a 40 to 50-year plan down the road. where
right.
it's big enough.
Yes,
That's what we need instead of
correct.
putting a Band-Aid on something.
Well, and you know, the original property I looked at was just over 28 acres with two pieces of property together right here in Dillsboro, which all along was where I wanted to be, but it wasn't feasible, number one, and it was also the same
Well, then the one
geological barriers, geographic barriers, right? And so I think that we got the best that we could get.
You know, I had a hard time with location. I'll just be honest.
And you know what I wanted too. You and I talked
represent
about it.
District 1
Yes, sir.
because my people will be utilizing the middle school. So, but at the end of the day, you got to think about where the high school is as well.
That's correct.
It's going to be very close to what will be the
It's
middle
the best that we could get, or best that we could
school. We
find.
spent months, I mean, hours up here just going over properties.
So
I don't think the site was, is the issue. I just let down at the numbers that has been, come forward from Pinnacle and things like that. Just because of that initial number that was presented to us, and I know it was built, however many years ago, but
right.
It's just, I don't know. It's just sort of upsetting because I was excited about it.
It is very upsetting to me. I was sending all kinds of emails last Tuesday night from my vacation because I'm concerned because I know we need this. It is a need, in my opinion, Commissioner Jennings, because we are so behind in Jackson County by not having a traditional middle school. We are one of, I think, 11 districts in the entire state of North Carolina that has these K-8 models, and one of only 5 or 6 that is exclusively K-8. So our kids are at a disadvantage, which is the way we wrote the grant with the workforce focus and CTE focus. That's why we were awarded the grant. So going back and talking about the footprint, the size of the building, I think I remember Commissioner Hooper, you saying, we should build it big enough that it's not full when it started 2 years ago when we started. And you're correct. And our original number was 1,000, and then we went to 900, and now we're down to 800. But in that footprint, it includes those classrooms that are specific to career and technical education. That is part of the reason that we got the grant, is we wrote it for, we're looking for a school that's effective for our students in grades 6 through 8 that will start exposing them to not just college, because y'all heard my spiel, everybody's not going to college, and that is okay.
Yeah.
But kids need to be exposed to things as early as middle school to see if they want to dabble in welding or culinary
I
arts.
agree, and I think our kids need more exposure to
Absolutely.
the trade schools.
I 100% agree. So that's how we wrote that grant, and honestly, that's State Superintendent Catherine Truitt said that is the reason we got the grant. We were the last school district to be awarded the grant on their list.
And like Commissioner Jennings said last time, and he is a builder, so the people listening out there that don't know, it is cheaper to go bigger with the building than to come back and add on to it.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. So when y'all talked about those numbers last week and why we decreased the enrollment number, the capacity number, why it didn't go down as far as we thought, is because we do still have to have those classrooms that we set up for CTE, because that's why we were awarded the grant. Well, if you look from the original and the layout, I think Kevin said, we're on iteration number 32-ish. And so we went from a really long building, which is not appropriate in a mountainous area, to now a 2-story building, and trying to continue to decrease. I think we cut a total of 12 classrooms when our team got together, a total of 12 classrooms when we went from the 1,900 to 800.
Well, I'd really like to see those trades go there. if that's what we're gonna do.
You and I both,
Yeah,
yes, ma'am.
The gap is for
Athletic field.
fields, pretty much. I feel sure, I mean, I don't want to say I'm sure. What's the numbers right now for just the school without the athletic fields?
Well, right now, the only field that is in the planned project is a seated grassy, like a softball, soccer, football practice area, not even a stadium type.
What's those numbers
And
currently
that
at?
number is
79.
79 million, and that's only for that field. But we can make do because we do have opportunity to use Coley Valley, like you mentioned last week at the meeting, to play off campus. But for me, it was important to at least have one field because
Oh, yeah, for sure.
PE kids during the course of the day like to go out and learn how to play soccer and all those other things. And so,
And you gotta understand that that's just why I'm so aggravated that, $79 million.
It's 19 more than what we were told the whole project with fields was going to be.
But it's 30 more than what was built, whatever county, Mitchell County, whatever county that it was.
That
It's
was
just,
built right before.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they just had opened that when they come here.
and I think that extraordinary number that you heard initially, I hope I can say this out loud because I'm getting ready to. Site work was like $31 million. I mean, we all about fell out of our chair over here, including y'all, as well as Kevin, because that is unheard of. And so that was $30 million just to prepare the property to build. No building, no fields, nothing else. So I think it saddened me and frightened me, and I'm really disheartened about it. But
I remember asking him, multiple times we've sat in here.
we were.
I mean, you guys were here.
Yes,
Is this gonna, I was.
my board chair was here too, Wes
We
Jameson.
were sitting there talking to each other.
Correct.
Is this real?
So they are finishing a middle school right now in Anson County. Pinnacle is with the same general footprint. But if you know where Anson County is, it's on the other side of Charlotte. It is flat.
I think the last numbers they've got, keep in mind there's two parties, right? It's Pinnacle and it's Vinoy, right? It takes both. And so, in defense of both of them, I think Pinnacle, the numbers that they were throwing out to us that day when they were presenting, is getting closer to what the numbers that Vinoy actually gave us in this is what the building was. So it's getting closer to that. It's the site plan. And then in Vinoy's defense, they throw $31 million at you because they don't know, they don't know what's in the ground. They don't know what your plans are, so they throw a huge number at you. Yep, $31 million. Then you're like, oh, no, we just need this. It's going to be here, and there's this much rock, and there's this much. You got access to this. Well, maybe it's more like $20 million. And then you give them more information, and then it gets down to okay, it's $14 million. And so there's process to this. And the numbers we heard at the beginning were the numbers we liked. Numbers we heard in the middle are the ones that are like, we can't do this. This is not real. And then I think we're getting closer to the real numbers. But we're going to be somewhere around $19 million short from what's been allocated. And so that's where if we talk about going to a bond referendum, that's what we would be, asking for. It's less than what the pool was.
Yeah,
One field though. So
It'd be one for 2 seasons.
On
So
that
it'd be
site.
for, you'd have your fall and for spring. Baseball and softball could go to Colway Valley. We could do some other things.
we've seen how projects languish if they're not finished when we start them. So
Well, the pool was also voted on for 20 million, wasn't it, John?
So if we're gonna build it, let's build it right and not piecemeal it. How long does it take you to get a track that was built as many years ago? Yeah.
Long before I got here, but it's going to be finished in October. And if you haven't seen it, it's beautiful.
Projects like that languished. And, at some point.
Well, it
you
is
have to ball and go.
because of your work that this is happening right now with the Fairview project and the track and these other projects. So,
Can't keep kicking the can down the road. Somebody's got to.
yes, sir.
That's why we're in the position we're in.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
I agree. Thank you.
Back to something you said a minute ago.
Yes, sir.
You felt like our kids were falling behind because we didn't have a middle school. And the reason we got the grant was so that we could have what'd you say, welding and?
CTE.
We'll have a broad range of career and technical education courses. Now, we hadn't named them all exactly yet, but yes, that's what the focus is on a career-ready kind of workforce.
Okay, so what about the kids up the mountain that don't have any of those classes all the way out of high school?
So Blue Ridge does have drone technology. They have horticulture. They have not animal science. I'm looking at natural resources. Say again. Natural resources and the drone technology.
Nobody else in the district has drone technology.
All right, so if you compared them, would there be more at the middle school than Blue Ridge gets through high school?
I would say probably yes, because there is, currently in each of the 4 elementary schools, there is 1 CTE class. So if you are at Fairview, you're only getting like the business style CTE. It's the only class you're getting. So that class would move to the middle school. At Cullowhee Valley, we had a horticulture class, lost a horticulture teacher, have a greenhouse. That program would move to the middle school. You would get the one from SME and the one from Scotts Creek, like a robotics at one of them, and another business one. So those would all merge in. So you would have at least those starting 4 classes, and then we'd have to explore what else that we could offer, because a lot of times the same teacher can teach more than one of those things. Nick Pressler is teaching the horticulture class and the drone technology class, so he has a license to do both.
So the high school wouldn't have a greenhouse horticultural program?
They already, you mean Blue Ridge?
I'm saying if you say it moved over to the middle school.
From the other.
From the other elementary schools.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, gotcha. I missed that part, sorry.
It's okay.
My point was we're falling behind on 6th, 7th, and 8th grade kids according to the state, but the high school we got up the mountain's might be getting almost as much as what the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade kids are getting here.
Right,
Not nearly what the Smoky Mountain kids get
right. They've
up
always
there,
been.
which I know the population's different, but my point's been made. You know.
I understand, yes, sir.
Okay.
So if we're gonna talk about the bond referendum, when will they have harder numbers for us to look at so that we're not undershooting, if that's something we're gonna proceed with?
So I know Kevin and Jake and Pinnacle and Vinoy met last Thursday. I don't know that they finalized those. I was out of town, but that should be coming in the next week or 2. We meet again this Thursday.
First of next week, and then we'll figure out kind of the process, and then if you decide, if the board decides to do something, we've got a procedure we've got to go in July, which would be instructing our finance director to do the bond stuff and actually the resolution. So there's a lot of moving pieces.
So I would say within the next 2 weeks, you would
Definitely
have
within the next
very
month.
firm numbers.
But I don't know how you could ever have very firm numbers when you're dealing with rock. I mean, unless they're giving you a worst case.
I
scenario.
agree with you on that.
Yeah,
I mean-
there's projections in there, and there's allowances for certain things, so we just have to kind of, work with our best. Yes, but they are nowhere near a GMP at this point. It will be November to January sometime before we get a GMP from Vanoy on it, which is guaranteed maximum price.
So is it, the Ingalls backed out? I know we don't have anything to do with Ingalls, but I heard Ingalls backed out because of the rock.
We met with Ingalls, last October-ish?
Yeah, I think they are.
They just slowed down.
It's just kind of holding in place, but I've not heard the rock thing.
I have not heard that either from my end, but we met last fall with their engineers and had a good conversation about like a shared road and those types of things. And then I haven't had any communication with them. I don't know if Kevin has or not. But what I've heard, is that they're not backing out, but they've just slowed down and waited. Because their plan was for what? The largest one west of Asheville?
Well, they promised us the Super Ingles for how many years? I'll call our property manager tomorrow, cause I know them over there, and I'll see
Okay.
if they backed out or not. But that's what I heard.
That'd be good.
Dan?
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There is no more need for discussion. I'll seek a motion for adjournment.
Hold on, I want to just say one more thing. If people's listening, not to you, sorry, but just to, about the Koala Park down there where you live, I've had several people call me about it. If anybody's listening, from what the contractor said, Kevin told me they were waiting on new bushes. The contractor said, which he subbed out the landscaping, they have replaced all the bushes. Is that correct? He thought they had replaced them all, is what he said today.
Yeah, I mean, they're still in the process, but it's not, we've not received the project back from the contractor yet. So the punch list has not been done. They did a punch list. The shrubs, I think the landscaping was a certain part of it. Also the grass
I
was
think it's
another
the
part.
shrubs.
So
and
I
that's
don't know
all
where
we
they are on
lacked.
that project,
Yeah.
but we can.
You talking about
we can-
He said that they're just waiting on the sign from you to put up. And you said
Well,
you
it'd be
need to
them
put your
ordering the
hands on
sign,
it.
so I don't know. Right. I mean, it was all a part of the contract, so,
So you don't have the signs?
no.
They do.
Well, they sub it out to somebody. It's all a part of the one contract.
We've been waiting on that park for,
Or maybe I misunderstood. He said that you just need to put your hands on the signs.
yeah.
I don't know,
So
I'll
y'all
follow
didn't
up
order
and
them?
see, but from my understanding, based on the conversation with the engineering firm, they were doing down the punch list and they had a problem with the grass and the shrubs and the signage was not in place. So,
Okay, well, he said he thought the shrubs were done, so you may want to check with him. And he said that you were waiting to put your hands on the signs. And that's all they liked.
pretty sure it's part of the contract, but yeah, we'll verify. But I don't think we're
I
responsible
hope
for the
they,
sign.
okay, I just hope I know they're supposed to get the signs. Sorry, Martin.
No, you're fine. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second? Second. All in favor? None opposed.